KVRX HD2, top of the hour. It's 3 o'clock. You're listening to Bazar Sports Radio. We changed it up a bit. Typically, we're from 5:30 to 6 on Wednesdays. Last show, we had to go out strong.
End of the year special.
End of the year special. We're from 3 to 6. 3-hour show. We're joined by 2 guests. Right now, we have Thomas Fitch, who joined us a couple weeks ago. And then later on today, around 4:35, we'll have Cleveland native Phil Schee joining us to talk about the Cleveland Cavaliers and the NBA. We're going to address some of the top sports news of today. Zach and I will recap questions, thoughts, and of course topics addressed throughout the year and some of the shows. And we'll go show by show actually for the next 3 hours. And let's end it with a bang. Welcome, Thomas.
Thanks.
Great to have you back.
Yeah, glad to be back.
We had a great time talking about Texas football. We'll go to that in just a second. But first, let's talk about the NBA. Zach loves the NBA, and Thomas loves the NBA.
I do love to talk about it.
And I'm loving the NBA right now with the Houston Rockets.
And who doesn't have the NBA playoffs?
That's NHL playoffs. Well, we can debate that.
We can talk about
We can debate that. All right, so let's first talk about the 76ers. Will there be a 76er comeback? They're down 3-1 to Boston. Does Boston have what it takes, or do the 76ers have what it takes to come back?
I believe that this is Boston's series. I think that it's already over. I think the 76ers, a very good team, obviously. We saw that they played very well this past game, but they just don't have enough in them to come back. They were down 3-0 against a Boston team that, although they're injured and they're very young, I still think that they're better than the current 76ers team. I do believe that next year the 76ers will have a very good chance going to the conference finals. However, for Boston, they're going to have Kyrie back. They're going to have Gordon Hayward back. So this Boston team is really good. I think that this is really good for the young players to be playing right now. I think that they're going to get a lot out of this playoff run, which is really good for their team as a whole. But I don't see the comeback happening for the 76ers this year.
Yeah, I think what the Celtics are dealing with and the reason they lost the last game, it's like if you're playing golf and, a professional golfer knows he has like 4 putts to win on the last hole. He's not going to be super aggressive with the first putt. He's going to work his way down there, take 2 or 3 putts. That's what the Celtics are doing. There's no reason to just give it 100% and risk injury when you're up 3-0. So it's possible the 76ers maybe win one more game, but I don't think it's close. I don't think we see a Game 7 here.
Yeah, Jason Tatum, we can talk about him and the conversation. Jason Tatum or Ben Simmons, who is the guy of the series?
Well, I think you got to give it to Tatum. I mean, he's going to win.
Right.
Simmons has struggled in some games. I think as far as looking at who's going to be better in the future, I think it's tough to say there. But I think it's going to be a great rivalry because these are 2 teams with a lot of young players who are going to get to just kind of go against each other for a while. And we're finally starting to see some new young talent in the East, and we're going to see some competition to the Cavs. Not this year, but in the future.
And I will say that we talk about young talent with Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, you have Jason Tatum. The West, I mean, the Rockets just defeated the Utah Jazz, but Donovan Mitchell,
yeah,
he's a player.
Right, Donovan Mitchell in the third quarter of last night's game outscored the entire Rockets team. Just Donovan Mitchell. He had 22 points in the third quarter last night compared to the Rockets' 21.
Yeah, that's it.
I mean,
And he's a rookie.
Yeah, he's
the league is in good hands.
I know.
Yeah. You see what LeBron James said in the press conference last night? He said this is the best draft class since 2003. Which as you guys probably know, that was LeBron's draft class.
It was a good draft class.
Yeah, he said
Dwayne Wade, I think Chris Bosh, maybe.
Chris Bosh, Carmelo Anthony.
Yeah.
Very good draft
Solid
class.
draft
class.
All right, let's talk about, we already mentioned the Warriors are now playing the Rockets. The Warriors are actually favored to beat the Rockets. The Rockets have home court advantage in the Western Conference Finals. Who's going to take this one?
I think the Warriors do. I think they have the experience. Steph Curry's getting back more and more healthy, getting back into the flow of it. I think they match up well against the Rockets. The Rockets are, to an extent, kind of a Walmart version of the Warriors. Kind of tried to take the quick pace, quick shooting style. But I think the Warriors have slightly better defense than the Rockets and slightly more depth. But I think it's a 6 or 7 game series.
That was my next question, because you don't even have to ask me who I'm going to pick. I'm going to pick the Rockets. How many games? We're not going to see a sweep. There's no chance.
No chance either way.
Yeah, I think it's 6 or 7, and I think out east it's 4 or 5.
This will be the series.
This is the series. This is whoever wins this wins it all.
This will be the same type of series. It was 5 or 6 years ago the Rockets played the Lakers,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a 7-game series, and it was intense.
Yeah.
This will be the same type of mentality and physicality that you'll see from that series brought into this one. High percentage shooting.
Mm-hmm.
You have Clint Capella on the boards. You have Draymond Green on the boards. I mean, you have good defenders. You also have some really bad defenders. And you have some very high percentage shooters, which will make it a very exciting series to watch.
I think this is definitely the best team that the Warriors have had to face in the past 3 years in the Western Conference. Obviously, they've had tough matchups in Cleveland.
Right.
We've seen.
Well, I mean, Spurs. Without Kawhi, obviously, the Spurs were toast.
Different
But with the
this
Spurs,
year,
I think it's pretty even with the Rockets team this year. Very different styles of ball, though. I mean, it's slowing it down versus trying to attack them with the same thing they use.
Sure, but you look at the Rockets this year, they have who will probably be the MVP, and James Harden. They have Chris Paul playing absolutely out of his mind. He had 41 points last night, 20 just in the fourth quarter. He's never had that many points in a quarter in his entire career, regular season or playoffs.
Clint Capella also showing up.
Clint Capella showing up, the whole team showing up.
Peaking at the right
they
time.
are very well coached, not to say that the Spurs aren't, because we both know they are. But this Rockets team is very good.
Very well coached. Anthony's done a heck of a job with this team.
All right. For the Eastern Conference Finals, you get two options. You take Cleveland or you take Boston or Philly.
Cleveland. I mean, in Cleveland in like 5.
Are you taking LeBron or are you taking...
I'm sorry, LeBron.
It's not even Cleveland.
Because as we've talked about in previous weeks, this Cleveland team is not as good as they have been in recent years. And
we'll definitely hear from Phil Schee later on about what he has to do with his Cleveland Cavaliers. But go on, Zach.
I am a fan of both the 76ers and this Boston team, though. It'll be really interesting to see how these young players on either team will face up against LeBron James. And there's a little help. Kevin Love's been playing pretty well. Kyle Korver's been shooting well. He's been helping out LeBron a lot.
J.R. Smith was like 6 for 6 last game, something like that.
Smith's a great shooter.
Let's not even
He does
talk
have
about
some helping pieces.
Let's not even talk about J.R. Smith for a second. We're going to talk straight about LeBron. LeBron James scored 136 points, 57 of 103 from the field. DeMar DeRozan, Kyle Lowry, 138 points, 53 of 108 combined.
Yeah.
It was LeBron versus the Raptors.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what it was.
Jordan would have made everybody else on his team score more points. I'm just kidding. No, LeBron's incredible.
We could argue this.
Incredible performance. I mean,
I would love to talk about Michael Jordan.
A Chicago fan right here, of course.
But the fact that LeBron, like every year, it's like, oh well, maybe he's kind of past his peak. He's gonna slow down. Shows no signs of slowing down.
Yeah, and you can attribute that to a lot of the way that he carries himself off the court, his workout and everything. And it was actually really funny. This morning it came out, he texted Ichiro from, obviously, plays baseball in the Mariners. He texted him this morning about his stretching style, because Ichiro, obviously, he's in his 40s right now. He's had a very long career in baseball, most hits ever. So he's definitely a guy that you look to for longevity. If you think of, like, guys who play for a long time and stay consistent, that's Ichiro. Mm-hmm. So... Actually, I don't know if it might have if it was like Tom Brady, I think, that texted him or something. Someone like wanted to like know his how he stretches, and Ichiro was just like, I don't even know who this guy is, which is so funny because it's like it's just Ichiro for you, and I think he's legendary. He's gonna be a Hall of Famer for sure.
All right, before we go on to the Spurs, we're gonna talk. Zach has something to talk about with Steph Curry.
Let's see, Steph Curry. Yeah, Steph Curry is now third all time in playoff threes, which doesn't seem very surprising. He's one of the greatest shooters of all time. He's in the playoffs every year. What probably might surprise you is who's ahead of him. Ray Allen, not surprising at the top, but the number 2 guy in three-pointers all time in the playoffs is a guy named LeBron James.
You really wouldn't think of LeBron as he is a three-point shooter, but when you think of LeBron James, you think of his defense ability, his driving ability, dunking.
Yeah.
Three-point is just a complement of that, but he's not the effective guy like Ray Allen was. I mean, he is, but Ray Allen was known as a three-point shooter.
Right. But I think the fact that LeBron, is it 8, or is this going to be the 8th year if he makes it to the finals?
Right.
He played a lot of games.
Being in that much, he's a good shooter, and so it's not like he's a big man, but it is still a little surprising. It just shows his versatility there.
100%.
Kind of a shame he passed Manu, but
yeah.
All right. Speaking of Manu Ginobili. The Spurs, Kawhi Leonard, where will he be next season?
Well, my heart wants to say San Antonio. Again, it's just so tough because there's just so little communication coming from Kawhi's camp. I think he's back in San Antonio now. I think he's gonna meet with the Spurs. They're gonna talk about it. I honestly think he stays. I think that would be the most Spurs thing, is all this drama over nothing. But I think we can look at some possible trade packages for him, because he still has a year left in his deal. If the Spurs were to trade him away, they'd want to go for some young talent. So, example, like if he was to go to the 76ers, trade him for, say, Fultz and Dario Saric, Jared Bayless, and like a first-round pick. That's a possibility. Or you go LA, because that's where he's from. So there's some talk of him going there. Maybe get Ingram, Kyle Kuzma, Lil Deng, or going to the Clippers, Tobias Harris, Patrick Beverley, and something that would involve first-round picks, so the Spurs could kind of get youth and kind of build from there. We'll see. I'd love to see him stick around, and I think there's a better chance that he sticks around than leaves, but I do think it's just kind of it's a guessing game at this point.
Thomas, what do you think? So, what do you think about LeBron James and where he will end up next year? Do you think there's a possibility he's on the Spurs next year?
Yes.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Yeah. And here's why. It's because LeBron has a great relationship with Pop.
Definitely.
I think LeBron at this point, he just wants to win. He doesn't want to have to worry about money, flashiness, any of that.
Totally.
You get that at San Antonio. Pop loves wine. LeBron loves wine. They both agree on social stuff. And so I think...
I didn't even know Pop loved wine. I did not know that.
Yeah. So,
Interesting.
So a lot of kind of connections there. Obviously, the Spurs would have to kind of gut a lot of the roster for that to happen. But it's a possibility. I definitely think it's a possibility, and maybe a little bigger of a possibility than some think.
So, my biggest question is, what kind of wine does he like?
That's a great question. I picture him as a red wine kind of guy.
Yeah, I think he likes the fancy stuff.
Oh, more mellow. I think Manischewitz or something like that. All right, now it's time for Thomas to do his stuff. Texas football. Let's hit it. Let's talk about recruiting first. How is this recruiting class different from the last ones? What did you like to see this year that happened?
Yeah, so the recruiting class is kind of slow moving right now, which is okay. I think you look at last year, it was about now kind of going into the summer where it started to get some momentum. But some big things have happened, obviously landing the Cal grad transfer Trey Watson. A couple weeks ago, they landed Kenyatta Watson the second, and they picked up a tight end, 3-star, but he could become a 4-star. Because again, what you got to look at this point is it's still early. Like, all these guys still have a whole senior season to play. So the ratings right now, they may fluctuate a little bit. Who teams are projected to get is still fluctuating a little bit. One of those guys who's committed to A&M right now, who could flip, is DeMarvin Leal. He's a 4-star linebacker from Texas, and a guy like him, he's going to take an official visit to Texas coming up, and so that's a guy that could flip. Some other guys to look at. These are two. There are only five 5-stars in the state of Texas this year. Kind of a down year for recruiting, which means you're going to have to look out of state. And Herman did a good job of that last year. But the two 5-stars, they're both tackles. It's Kenyon Green, Tyler Johnson. Green now projected to go to A&M. Johnson projected to go to UT. But again, a lot of these guys haven't even taken an official visit yet. So could be a lot to change. But the thing with Herman is he said he wants to get all this wrapped up as much as possible before the season starts, and wants to get everybody signed with the new early signing period. That way, come 2019, he can start worrying about the 2020 class. And so for that to happen, he's going to have to start getting a bunch of momentum this summer and into the fall. And the biggest way to get momentum, obviously, is to win games. And so I think if you can come out, look good in non-conference, you got to beat USC, but you can beat USC at home. I'm sure he's going to bring a whole lot of recruits to that. You bring a bunch of those recruits, Texas wins. I think that'll be a huge momentum shift for Texas.
Let's switch before we talk about the QB situation and some players to watch. You just mentioned the schedule.
Yeah.
Talk about the big wins that they need next season, and we'll talk about must-win games.
Yeah.
We'll talk about games that they need, and your prediction of their record at the end of the year before the bowl game, and then we'll predict what bowl game they'll go to. Let's first talk about must-win games.
Must-win games. This may surprise some people. Maryland.
Oh, yeah.
First game of the year. You got to start off with the win. Get that momentum. That's on the road. Show you can win on the road. And win against kind of the middle-of-the-pack team. That's big. I think USC's a must-win. And the reason I say they're a must-win, I think they'll be top 10 to start off the year. They're going to fall.
They don't have a quarterback yet.
Right. They're a young team. They brought in a 5-star quarterback, but he's a freshman.
Right.
And so I think they'll still be a top 25 team by the end of the year, but that's a loss there would look less impressive by the end of the year.
And right before you go on,
yeah,
like you mentioned, on the road.
Mhm.
I think that's the most important part.
Yeah.
Winning on the road, you come back to Austin, you got 3 games. You got Tulsa, USC, TCU.
mm-hmm.
You're 1-0 coming home. Tulsa should be a 100% win.
Yeah.
You then have USC that could go either way. We could see that. So just say we're 2-1 at that point.
Yeah.
Having TCU at 2-1 at home,
Yeah.
that will be huge.
Mm-hmm.
TCU's a good team.
Yeah.
Texas has the opportunity to take them and go 3-1 going on the road to Kansas State. Kansas State could be a win.
Yeah.
And then, of course, OU. You know what OU can do. Even though they have a new quarterback, there's still OU.
Yeah. That's, I would say, the 2 must-win games in conference, OU and West Virginia. I think OU's the favorite coming back, but I think West Virginia's the sleeper favorite. They're one of the few teams with Texas returning quarterback, and they're bringing back Will Grier, who's going to be a senior. So I think they're going to be a sneaky team who could win the Big 12. You win against OU, you win against West Virginia. The West Virginia game is at home. You win those games, and I think you're in a spot where you could win the Big 12 championship.
And, of course, November 23rd, it's a game we're all looking forward to. At Kansas, that could be a big one. Sarcasm on it. That should be
well, okay, after 2 years ago.
We'll
You never know. You never know.
All right, so what's your prediction on this record? What are we looking at?
I'm thinking this is a 9 or 10 win team. I think they're a team that could definitely contend to win the Big 12. I think the Big 12 is definitely winnable this year because so many teams, Oklahoma State, Oklahoma, TCU, among others, at Texas Tech, who have lost their starting quarterback to graduation, going to the draft, whatever. And so I think because of that, this is a year where you could be in the Big 12 championship with maybe even 2 losses in conference. And so I think Texas could have a 9-win team that's in the conference championship. But I think, if they play it, if Ellinger can come out, or Buechele, whoever gets the start, and play smart football, they don't have to play great because we have a good defense and they have weapons at wide receiver, and hopefully now you bring in Trey Watson and some other guys. I think this is a team that maybe the peak is 11 wins. Kind of the ceiling, I would say the floor is 7-5.
And we look at it last year, their record where they went to the Texas Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
They could have easily had 3 or 4 games back. They could have won. It was close. I mean, OU, I know that they took it home down the stretch.
Yep.
That was a game they could have won. We look at USC, that could have had won. Oklahoma State, 100%. I mean, Texas Tech should have been a win. There was a lot of games. I mean, we can what if all day, but there were a lot of games where they lost it. And with bringing back 2 quarterbacks who are somewhat experienced, in that
gaining
case,
more experience. I mean, 10 of your 11 offensive starters are coming back.
Right, you have a very progressive and very veteranized team. Could definitely help down the stretch where it didn't help last year.
Yeah.
And they faltered at the end. All right, and then now quarterback situation. Who's going to be the week 1 quarterback, and who will be the quarterback at the end of the year?
Yeah, that's a good question.
They could be different.
I think Ellinger starts, and I think he stays for the whole season. But as far as looking at kind of who looked better in the spring game, it was kind of tough for me to get a good read on who felt or who looked the best. I wouldn't say either looked great. I think especially kind of Herman had come in and said, oh, they've had really good development, and then they just kind of came in, looked average. Buechele missed some deep throws, as did Ellinger. But they both, I'd say overall accuracy was better. They looked more composed in the pocket. But again, it's not a real game. And so it all comes down to who can actually play when the lights are on, when it matters. And I think we've seen in the past that's Ellinger. Even though he's had the late game mistakes, he's had those late game mistakes because we've been in a close game when that happens.
Right.
When Buechele plays against TCU, that was the only ranked team he played against last season. It wasn't even close. I think with Ellinger, maybe you don't win that, but it's a close game. And so I think people also forget, I think when they compare Buechele and Ellinger, they think that they're on the same level as far as experience. Ellinger was a true freshman last year.
One's pro style, or you can even say more of a spread offense.
Yeah.
One guy, or dual threat. One guy is more of a pocket passer.
Yeah.
So doesn't have the exact legs to run a dual threat type quarterback. And teams nowadays are looking for that dual threat.
Yeah, and Buechele doesn't have the endurance. He was every other game he played, he got injured.
He has the arm, though, I will say.
Yeah, he definitely has a better arm than Ellinger, but again, Ellinger's younger. We know Herman's kind of been a quarterback whisperer. He was there at Ohio State when they won the national championship with a third-string quarterback. So he knows how to develop quarterbacks. Hopefully he can continue to work with Ellinger and Buechele over summer and fall practice. But I think Buechele gets the start. But one advantage for both quarterbacks is the offensive line is going to be better. Not only are they going to be more experienced, but you bring in Calvin Anderson. That's huge because I'm blanking on the name, but whatever position that Calvin Anderson is coming in for, the guy playing it right now is kind of out of position. And so he's going to be able to transfer to either a tackle or a guard and get back to his natural position. And so I think the offensive line is going to be a lot better, giving whoever is quarterback more time in the pocket. And, the way the offense worked last year was the second you get the ball, you're having to roll out because there's just not time. And so I think both players struggle because it's a lot harder to throw on the run than when your feet are set. And so I think having a more developed and a better offensive line is going to help whichever quarterback starts. But I think it's Ellinger, and I think he starts the whole season.
I just want to go off. We talked about the schedule earlier, and you talked about the recruits, and hopefully there's going to be a lot during USC.
Mm-hmm.
As a recruit, not saying I'm a recruit, but as a recruit, the week that you want to come visit is against the team that probably is best nationwide,
right,
and most recognized. You have Iowa State, West Virginia, Baylor, TCU, USC, Tulsa. If you're a recruit, you're going to want to come up for USC.
Yeah.
They don't get the win. That's maybe a small deciding factor, but that won't be a huge percentage of it.
Mm-hmm.
Coming up, seeing the atmosphere, because that's the biggest thing. You
Yeah.
don't want to play, if you come up during, let's just say, Baylor.
Right.
The fans may not be there. Just say if it's a day game,
Well,
11:30 start, they're going to want to be under the lights.
Not only that, this is just a little kind of add-in. Just you brought up Baylor. That's ACL weekend, so there's going to be no students there. And so
I haven't bought my tickets yet. I might be there.
So I think hopefully they'll take that into consideration. But you're right. The USC game will be under the lights. Maybe even be college game day there.
Yeah.
It's going to be the most packed game of the. It's probably it's going to be probably about as full as the Notre Dame game was 2 years ago. I think if we can get that atmosphere. Del Conte's done a good job. Kind of this past spring, he's looking at changing stuff up, trying to make it kind of a better pregame atmosphere too, having concerts and food trucks and stuff like that. I think anything to get more fans there definitely helps recruits.
What do you think of the new stadium changes that they're looking at?
I think they look really cool. I think it's gonna, as far as I think a big reason for it is financially, and it's adding a lot of more suites and that kind of the boxes and stuff. They're adding some floor level boxes like the Cowboys have done at their stadium. That's cool. One reason for this change is right now Herman's office looks at, I think, like the back of the bleachers. And so what the change is now, his office, because they're going to lower it, his office will look at the field. And that's, it's maybe not the biggest factor, but every little edge in recruiting, when you can bring a guy into your office and be like, this is my view, here's the stadium, I think that helps. And that's one reason for the changes. But I think it's going to fill out the south end zone. I think it's going to make just the whole place feel kind of more united, especially as you're going to have that's where students are going to be sitting. And so I think that's going to really improve that.
I think all students will be sitting there, which will make it
right because of the new seating arrangement.
Mm-hmm.
right, better atmosphere.
Exactly. Yeah.
It'll be loud.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Texas football, of course, we love to talk about that. Let's talk about the MLB for a bit. We have 5 minutes before we go to break. We'll just mention part of the MLB here for a second. James Paxton becomes the first Canadian ever to toss a no-hitter in Canada.
Yeah.
Zach, I'll let you add this.
Yeah, one of the most amazing parts about this no-hitter being in Toronto, that was against the Blue Jays, is now out of the 3 no-hitters that have happened this season, all 3 of them have been in a different country.
Wow.
We had the Mania one in America. We had the Dodgers one. It played in Mexico.
That's right.
And now this one's in Canada.
Huh. That's cool.
It's a really cool.
Fun stat. We were talking about
no-hitters all across North America.
Exactly. Except for Alaska. Oh wait, that's a part of America.
that is America.
That's
I'm
United
kidding,
States.
obviously.
Greenland.
Yeah, speaking of that, I was actually in Alaska, and some guy asked if they accepted American money there.
Like, no, we only accept Alaskan money.
Right, exactly. All right, Matt Harvey traded to the Reds.
Yeah, that's a big trade. Matt Harvey, the Mets were actually talking to him. They wanted to send him down to the minor leagues because he's not been playing very well, and he refused to do it. He said, I'm not playing the minor leagues. Either you're going to trade me or you're going to drop me. And they ended up trading him to the Reds, which I guess they're like a minor league team anyways. I mean, they're gonna be last in the division. They're a very bad team, but Matt Harvey's still playing.
All right, and before we go to the break, we're going to talk about Rafael Palmeiro. He's agreed to play with his son, who's 28 years old, for the independent Cleveland Railroaders at age 53.
Wow.
That's really cool.
Remember when we talked about Ichiro playing till his
45.
grandchildren are in the league?
We had Ken Griffey Sr.
Yeah.
played Ken Griffey Jr.
Right.
And the
Exactly.
Ripkins.
At 53?
Yeah, 50. Yeah, that's incredible.
That's incredible.
It's older than my dad.
Yeah, me too.
I couldn't imagine that. But I guess it is minors. But still, I mean, just
He's a 4-time All-Star, 3-time Gold Glove winning first baseman, one of 6 players with more than 3,000 hits and 500 home runs, played 20 MLB seasons, half of those with the Texas Rangers. Career ended in Baltimore in 2005 after testing positive for steroids. Ooh.
maybe that's how he's still able to play right now.
Rough ending. I do remember him on MVP baseball, though.
Yeah,
He was pretty good.
totally. He was.
Definitely a guy I drafted in the second.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna go to break for about just a couple minutes here. I want to thank Thomas for coming on today.
Yeah,
We
thanks.
always enjoy having you.
Oh,
We'll
yeah, love
definitely
being
get you
here.
on next semester, especially during college football season.
Absolutely.
Stick around, Bazar Sports Radio. Zach Dolans, Will Bazarski, and of course our guest Thomas Fitch. We'll be back in a couple minutes. Stick around. Welcome back, Bazar Sports Radio here, KVRX HD2. Great 30 minutes with Thomas
Yeah.
Fitch. Really enjoyed having him on. A lot of college football
A lot of good
knowledge.
insight.
Learned a lot, I will say.
Definitely.
Definitely learned a lot. We talked about college football season, of course, with Texas recruiting, QB situations, players to watch, just everything about Texas football. Mentioned some of the NBA stuff going on with the 76ers, Celtics, all that sorts of stuff. Left off with the MLB, and we'll continue with that right now. Once again, Bazar Sports Radio. Will Bazarski, I'm with Zach Dolans, of course. Matt Hand is sick today. If he's listening, we hope you feel a little bit better. Get ready for your finals. All right,
Yeah, really.
let's start it back off. Which team has been the biggest surprise?
I think that the biggest surprise this year has been the Boston Red Sox. We see Yankees obviously playing very, very well this year, but that was expected of them. We went into this year, they got Giancarlo Stanton in the offseason. They're the 2 biggest home run hitters in the MLB between him and Aaron Judge, so we expect them to be good, and they are performing very well, but definitely the Red Sox think they have one of the best records in the MLB right now. They're definitely outperforming many people's expectations. You look at Mookie Betts having a phenomenal year already.
And we'll talk more about
and
that later.
Their
of
pitching
course.
has been great. Definitely the Boston Red Sox are the team to watch out for the rest of the year, and the team that has definitely outlived all my expectations so far.
All right, we're going to come back to the MLB a little bit later. Let's talk about, or we'll come back to today, stuff about today a little bit later on. We're going to just go and recap some of the shows we've had in the past.
Yeah.
We're going to touch on every single show we've had. I think I left out 2 shows just because I wasn't sold on the information we had in them.
Okay.
But we're going to start out with January 17th, 2018.
First of the semester.
First of the semester, way back when.
Mm-hmm.
So the question we had from one of our listeners was, who is going to win the Super Bowl? I picked the New England Patriots. Matt and Zach took the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, we're obviously all very good at predicting.
Boy, were we wrong. Who would have thought?
I mean, it wasn't that far off. Matt and I picked the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, they did get to him.
I mean, we picked
Obviously,
some good teams.
Patriots were in the Super Bowl.
Right, Patriots won the Super
Yes,
Bowl, so I
Patriots.
guess I did an okay job.
Yeah. Wait, so what point in the season were we at when we decided this, though? Well, I feel like this would have been the
First week,
beginning of the play.
Yeah, like
no,
set-
beginning of
right before the
before the
Minnesota
playoffs started.
Vikings
Right before
took.
the playoffs started.
Yeah, right before the playoffs started.
Right.
So
Yeah, I mean,
not bad. I mean, Patriots are always a good pick to have.
yeah,
Minnesota Vikings are more of a team that
and you know, they went to the
you saw the New Orleans Saints.
NFC finals.
That New Orleans
sure.
Saints game was incredible.
Mhm.
So it was not terrible picks. It could have been better.
Yeah, no.
And of course, some Fast 5 facts that interested us from that day. Actually, Nick Foles and Case Keenum were both QBs for the 2015 7-9 St. Louis Rams, and faced each other in the NFC Championship game.
Yeah, that's very cool. Oh, so we were about to get to the NFC Championship game, which means at this point there are 4 teams left.
Right. So
Yeah, we were pretty off.
I mean, we had.
Yeah,
You could have. I mean, you and
no,
Matt
I
could have
totally
picked a
remember
different
now.
team.
I totally remember now. Yeah,
We all could have
we were
picked
definitely
different
off with
teams,
that.
but
no.
who do we
God,
blame?
why
You or
did-
Matt?
How did we not even think that the Eagles? We were just. So, I
Because
remember.
Nick Foles.
Right.
We didn't
Right,
think Nick
because we
Foles
thought
had it in him.
Carson Wentz was going to be their man, and then when he got hurt, right?
I mean, So,
I mean, in hindsight, it's
Right.
almost obvious.
right, almost.
They crushed the Vikings in that game too.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Vikings had no chance, even though they had a solid setup. They really
They did. I know they had a better defense than the Eagles. Everything.
But Eagles outshined everyone's
They really
expectations.
did. They did.
All right. In the last 5 NFC Conference Championship games, the number 1 seed has won every time. Good news for the Pats and Eagles.
Yeah, I guess it
And
was.
It was true.
Yeah, now we know.
He was right. So yes, once again, if you're just joining us, we're actually recapping our previous shows. We're right now on January 17th, 2018. What a great Wednesday. I don't remember it, but I'm sure it was a good Wednesday.
I'm sure we were doing great things, man.
Really. All right. Cleveland, another one of Fast Five facts during that day. Cleveland Cavaliers were 2-8 in their last 10 games. Where are they now?
Right. That was LeBron's worst 10-game stretch in 11 years.
And now he's in the Eastern Conference Final.
Yeah, but I know, I didn't think that they were going to make it this far, but how could he not? It's LeBron James. This is what he does every year.
Who knew the LeBron Cavaliers were going to make it so far?
Mm-hmm. Cleveland LeBrons.
My bad. LeBron Cavaliers, Cleveland LeBrons.
The LeBrons.
LeBron. Just LeBron.
He went to LeBronto and just made everyone LeBron.
Oh, darn. Oh, that was spicy.
Thank you.
I like that. So, yeah, some good stuff back on that day. We're going to move on
That was a good
to...
week. It was
Yeah,
good.
it was a good day. January 24th, 2018. The biggest question of that day was, I actually asked to Zach, if you were a new GM,
Mm-hmm.
could choose any quarterback to build your team off of, who would be your top 3 quarterback selections?
Right, and I said Aaron Rodgers, final answer. I didn't even go with the other 2 options. Because if
No,
I
you went Aaron Rodgers. You
build a
went
team-
Aaron? I don't know his middle name, but
Aaron,
middle name.
Middle name Rodgers.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it.
That's it. I went Aaron Rodgers, of course. I was a little nice to Zach. Carson
How could you
Wentz and
not?
Jimmy
it
Garoppolo.
would be wrong for you not to say Aaron Rodgers.
Oh,
At least
100%.
One of the 3. It's just wrong. It's
And-
objectively wrong.
And I actually did 4 picks because this guy I felt I couldn't leave out, and you had a lot of disagreement over. Andrew Luck.
Right,
You wouldn't-
because he's very injury prone.
Right, but he doesn't have the team around him, so
Agreed.
they
You
could be a good team this year.
Totally, you give him a good offensive line. He's a very good quarterback.
Right, and that's what he needs. And if you're going to build a team, you're going to start with the offensive line. And in this case, I guarantee you, Aaron Rodgers and Carson Wentz and Jimmy Garoppolo would already have been off the board. And settling for Andrew Luck,
Yeah, that's not bad.
that's not
Assuming he won't get injured.
right, exactly. But he's definitely a quarterback to look out for. Just something interesting to think about.
Mhm.
So if you're listening out there, think about who your top 3 quarterbacks would be if you're going to build an NFL
Yeah,
franchise.
so you can't say Tom Brady because he's towards the end of his
Right.
career. So if you're building a team,
You're looking for
right now-
5 years at least. Tom Brady probably has 1 to 2 left we could talk
Mm-hmm.
about, but we're looking for 5 years down the road, and you can even add Deshaun Watson in there. You can even add guys from this year's draft if you want to. Would you add anyone from this year's draft?
It's hard to tell at this point. None of them have NFL experience yet. Like I wouldn't have put Carson Wentz on this list before last year, but you saw an MVP performance season,
Right.
which came out of nowhere almost. So
It did
it's
come
hard
out of
to
nowhere.
it's hard to tell right now from the current draft class. I think if it's going to be anyone, I like Sam Darnold a lot. Or
Even
maybe
Cam Newton, you could probably build a franchise around. There's a lot of quarterbacks you could build a franchise around if they have the right tools and the right coaches.
Right.
Like look at
Right, that's a
Sam
good point. That's a good
Bradford.
point.
Sam Bradford struggled in a lot of systems, but he really shined in this one, Minnesota Vikings.
Right.
So it really just depends on the system you're
Yeah,
in.
I
Case
agree with
Keenum again shined in one
But
system.
that's what I think is so great about like an Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
I know he's only been on one team his whole career, but I feel like he's a guy that no matter what system you put him in, no matter what receivers you give him,
Right.
he will still shine.
I agree. I mean, it's hard to debate Aaron Rodgers. It really is. All right, and we had a question asked: will Kawhi Leonard be a San Antonio Spur next season?
Yeah, Thomas gave us some insight
Right.
on that too.
Thomas said that he hopes for Kawhi to be a Spur next year. I think everyone really hopes for him to be a Spur because
It's hard to imagine him on any other team.
right, he offers such a great deal to the Spurs organization, and they're really always a competitor. Even though they might lose some guys here and there,
Mhm.
they're always a team to be reckoned with. I think this was the year that their playoff streak extended to become the legal drinking age of 21 years old.
That's longer than we've been alive.
Right.
They've been in the playoffs every year of our life.
Right, exactly. That's how
That's
impressive
just what
it
we
is.
know. We know
And-
Spurs equal playoffs.
100%. And they win championships too.
Mhm.
And Popovich is Popovich, so
Yeah.
of course they're going to be a team to reckon with. All right, and then the Fast Five fact of that day: the team wearing white has won the Super Bowl 12 out of the past 13 seasons. Guess who wore white this season?
It was the Patriots, Will.
Oh, what happened
What
there?
happened?
What happened?
Well, they didn't win.
They did not win.
So much for that streak.
I will say, though, it was a great game to watch.
Oh, great game to watch.
I think we watched it together. We had the Domino's order.
We did. We totally did.
And
we had like 2 different
they messed it up.
restaurants. Yeah. Yeah. And
It took forever.
Yeah. And one of our
And we got
friends.
Hey, we got like $50 reimbursed.
Totally.
I mean, I can't.
Yeah, but then some guys like missed the whole beginning of the game because of Domino's.
I didn't. I was there.
I was there too.
Yeah, so we didn't have to
No,
suffer.
we enjoyed the game.
We did enjoy the game and the pizza and the wings. We did a good order that
We
day.
did. I totally remember it.
I
It was delicious.
think I ordered it, so you can give me some credit for that.
Thank you, Will. Good job.
Appreciate it. All right, we'll move on to one more show before we go back to some news. Actually, not news of the day, but we have some interesting facts to talk about. January 31st, 2018. What will happen to Kirk Cousins was our topic of that day.
Mm-hmm.
I said Denver. You and Matt said Cleveland.
Cleveland Browns, and I still don't think that was that bad.
It wasn't that bad, but thinking of where he went now,
Totally.
Denver Broncos, or not Denver,
No, he went
Minnesota.
to which is a much better team than Cleveland.
Much better team. I was surprised though because they had 3 quarterbacks.
Not anymore.
Not anymore, of course, but
Well, I mean,
at the time,
what we were thinking was Cleveland, like for Kirk Cousins, like to be able to be that guy, like it would do a lot for his career if after being like such a low point in his career now, after being so good, to be able to go to a team like Cleveland who has consistently been very bad. If he were to be able to go to a system like that and turn it around, that would do so much for his career. He'd have a huge payday.
Right, and I think the Cleveland Browns mindset was they weren't looking for. I mean, they have Tyrod Taylor, but they weren't looking for a guy to have for because he wasn't going to sign long term in Cleveland. He could have been a 1-year guy, and they weren't looking for that because they're going to have to trade a draft pick possibly.
I think this was actually before they signed Tyrod Taylor, though, right? I'm pretty sure it was.
Probably. No, this was before because
Right, this was before they signed Tyrod Taylor.
So in this moment, this could have been a good gig for them, giving up a first round. But now looking back at it, if you look at everything that's happened,
well, yeah,
right, having Tyrod Taylor. There's no reason for them to get Kirk Cousins now.
Well, right, but I feel like if they had Kirk Cousins beforehand, they wouldn't have had to draft a guy like Baker Mayfield or any quarterback.
Right, so
and they could have gotten
there's so many ways to look at
because
it.
then they end up losing on Barkley.
Right, exactly. And that could have been a big steal if they would have had Kirk Cousins.
Totally.
So many things could have transpired.
Right, and then they end up signing Jarvis Landry.
Right, 100%. Anything could have happened during that time period.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and then we talked about Patrick Mahomes. Is he the future of Kansas City? Well, they didn't draft a quarterback.
I guess they made that decision.
It's going to be interesting to see what he does with the Chiefs organization. Because they basically said, here you go. Have fun. See what happens. You got 2 years to do whatever you can. And then, I'm sure after 2 years, they're going to evaluate. He sat behind Alex Smith, who, once again, is a very B-plus quarterback.
Yeah.
I'm not going to give him an
He
A
has
status.
games. He has very good games.
Has very good games. Replacing Kirk Cousins in Washington. They really just were looking for something new. So it's his organization now. We'll see what he does with it. What do you see? Upside, downside?
I see upside. I think this Kansas City team, they're also consistently a good team. I think that Patrick Mahomes has the potential to take them to a playoffs. I don't know about in year 1, but definitely in the future. Well-rounded team, good defense. It'll be interesting.
It will be interesting. And I said we're going to do just that last show before we move on to interesting facts, but because this deals with the Cavaliers and Super Bowl, we're going to stick with this one. We're going to do one more before we move to interesting facts. February the 6th, 2018.
Mm-hmm.
Cleveland Cavaliers blew a 21-point lead over the Orlando Magic. They lost 116-98.
That's crazy. The Cavs were so bad.
So bad.
They were so bad.
So bad. And then, Fast Five fact of that day, Doug Peterson, the only person ever to beat Belichick as both a player and a coach. Guess who he was a quarterback for?
Who was he a quarterback for?
Cleveland Browns. We just talked about them.
No way.
Maybe they need him to come back as a quarterback.
Definitely. That anything could really help Cleveland at this point.
So yeah, he beat him as a quarterback in 2000 and in Super Bowl 52.
That's a really cool stat.
Really cool stat.
Yeah, good for him.
All right, and before we move on to February 14th, oh, that was Valentine's Day.
Oh, happy Valentine's Day, Will.
Happy Valentine's Day that already happened.
Like 3 months ago.
3 months ago. I'm 3 months too late.
Yeah.
Those flowers are on
Did you get your
way.
present yet?
No, it said it's still shipping.
It's still in the mail.
All right, we're going to talk about we'll talk about some interesting stuff that happened today in sports.
My favorite segment.
We're going to do two right now, and then we're going to do some interesting facts with Zach. Facts with Zach.
I like that so much better than Matt's 5 Fast Facts.
Ooh, I hope he's not listening because I'm sure he's offended right now.
Matt, you've been replaced. It's Zach.
It's over. It's over. All right, 1937, the Reds beat the Phillies 21-10.
Wow.
Football? No, not
It
football.
Sounds like it.
Ernie Lombardi was 6 for 6. But wait, there is no relation to Vince Lombardi.
All right, because Vince Lombardi's a legend. That guy is.
I think he's in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, definitely.
No, Ernie
Ernie
Lombardi is in the Hall of Fame.
But no relation to Vince Lombardi.
No, I searched so many websites. I didn't research. I mean, you can't really believe websites nowadays, but
Totally.
I didn't see any books about it, so no relation. I'm sure because one was born on the West Coast. I don't know where Vince was born.
They could be cousins.
Maybe like fifth cousins. Maybe we're
It's
cousins.
possible. That's definitely possible.
Definitely possible.
We should go check our family trees.
We should go check. Yeah, definitely check. Can somebody check our family tree for
Yeah,
us?
thank you.
We don't have time. I'm studying for finals.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, and then 1961. I'll let you take this one.
Baltimore Oriole Jim Gentile had 2 grand slams versus the Minnesota Twins. 2 grand slams in one game? That's unbelievable.
Hard enough to hit 1 grand slam.
Yeah, really.
I mean, I hit 1 in 2K18. Barely hit 2.
You know, good for him. He had 9 RBIs that game. That's a lot of RBIs.
Definitely a stat booster right there.
Definitely a stab. I wish I had that guy in fantasy that day.
Oh, you get home runs and
2 home runs. You get so that's 2 hits. You're gonna get 9 RBIs for the day. You're gonna get 8 bases.
I wonder if you can bet on that. Bet how many home runs in a day. Because I know that for hockey, it's called a grand salami. You can bet how many goals are going to be scored in one day, over under. What if they have for home runs or hits even?
I feel like it'd be more likely for hits. I don't think they'd.
Right, home runs are a lot tougher
It's tough.
to.
Or if they had over under on grand slams.
Right. All right, and now we're going to move on to some Zach facts.
Zach's facts. Interesting factoids of the day.
Ooh, factoids.
Yeah, you like that one?
I like that
I
word.
like that one. We're gonna start using that too.
I'm going to use that all the time. I have a factoid for
yeah,
you.
I got a fun factoid for you. All right, here we
You
go.
have
We'll
any
start off.
Altoids with your factoids?
Ooh, factoid, Altoid.
Ooh, we got a little brand right there.
Fresh.
Minty Fresh brand. All right, hit it.
First one, we're going to the NBA. The Warriors have now won 15 consecutive home playoff games. That ties the Chicago Bulls in 1990-91 season for the longest such streak in NBA history.
It's the Chicago Bulls. Of course, you put that one on there.
Well, I mean, it's an interesting
I'm kidding.
fact.
No, it's very interesting fact. I'm glad the Rockets are starting out at home.
Oh, totally.
They got
Home court advantage is going to be huge in that series, definitely.
really big.
Warriors are not losing at home right now.
1990-91 Bulls with Jordan, right?
Of course it was Jordan. Won championship that year.
You know,
The first of 6.
first of 6, and then the Rockets won too.
They won 2 in the middle because, Jordan wasn't playing.
Wow.
He's taking a little break.
Taking a little break.
Little baseball break.
Oh, baseball break.
The
I wish I
prime
could do
of his
that.
career. Yeah.
Taking a little radio show break and moving on to broadcast television.
Just for 2 years.
Just for 2 years. I'm
And then
coming
I'll be
back. Don't worry.
Yeah, I'm the GOAT here. Don't worry.
We all know.
Yeah.
All right.
In the prime of his, that's what makes him absolutely amazing. Is to do that in the prime of his career and then to come back
And still
and
be
do it
amazing.
again. Yeah.
So-
Beat that LeBron.
Steph Bo Jackson.
Yeah.
I mean, because he.
Well, I mean, Bo Jackson was at least good at both sports. Jordan was a terrible baseball player.
That's also true. And Bo Jackson also would play football and baseball in the same season.
That's unbelievable.
Like, would go from one sport to the next.
Yeah, he was really good. He was probably the
I'd
greatest.
take a break
I'd say
after
he's
that
the
day.
greatest athlete of all time.
Bo Jackson,
I think-
yeah.
you can make that argument for sure.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
I mean, I feel like Aaron Judge should do that. Why doesn't he play football? He played football in high school. He was a tight end.
He could definitely be a tight end. We could
He's
also
huge.
argue LeBron could be a tight end.
Aaron Judge's like 6'6". Why can't he play tight end?
There's a hockey player who's like 6'8".
Zdeno Chara.
Yeah, he could be a tight end.
I met him over spring break.
Did you really?
Yeah, he was in Fort Lauderdale.
Oh, trip that I decided not to
The
go
trip
on.
that you were not on.
Hey, you had a great time over spring break. The rodeo, though?
Yeah, no. Don't get me wrong.
Fried
I
cookie
loved
dough?
Houston. That was so much fun.
Fried cookie dough or MLB baseball?
Why not both?
Oh, you can do it. Oh, that's a new little thing right there.
That we're gonna start selling fried cookie dough at baseball games.
I would go to more baseball games.
Oh my God, we'd be so rich.
So rich.
All right, we're patenting this idea. No one can steal it.
I don't know if that. I don't think that's how it works. But
It has not been patented by us.
not
We're selling
yet.
Cookie dough.
We're having someone fill out the form for us
As
right
we
now.
speak, we just came up with it, but someone's already filling out the paper.
What's your favorite? Okay, we're talking about that. What's your favorite ballpark food?
That's a good question. I think a hot dog is definitely my favorite ballpark food, and not the hot dogs that you just get from one of like the concession stands. I'm talking about the hot dogs that come up to you, like those, like the guys that walk
Oh.
around with like the hot dogs, you know.
What's that
And
movie?
hot dogs here. Those are the best hot dogs.
What's that hot dog? Not the hot dog. What's the movie? It's the guy who plays for the Chicago Cubs, and he's like 12 years old.
No way.
The rookie of the year. You've seen that movie?
Maybe.
He throws the ball like 100 and something miles an hour. There's a scene
A
in the
12-year-old?
maybe like yes.
No way.
He has surgery or something.
not
He
possible.
breaks his arm. Obviously, it's a Disney movie.
Okay. Okay.
He breaks his arm, and something. How it heals back. It's like a slingshot for an arm.
Oh my God, that's such a fun
And
movie.
there's a scene in it where the owner is sitting in the crowd of the Cubs, and he asked for 2 hot dogs, and each hot dog is like $6 or $4, and he's like, $4 for a hot dog? You're lucky to get $4 for a hot dog now. This was in like the 90s.
that'd be cheap, right? I go to a Cubs game. It's like $9 for a hot dog walking around. Like, I got a monopoly on that.
They really do.
Speaking of sports movies, though, specifically baseball, do you have like a favorite baseball movie?
Favorite baseball movie?
There's a lot of good ones. Baseball, in my opinion, is like the best of like any sports movies.
Oh,
Like you're talking
I like
sports movies,
Moneyball. Moneyball's
Moneyball's,
probably
yeah.
my favorite
I love Moneyball, 'cause-
baseball movie.
Because you look
Let's
at
go. Let's actually do this. Basketball, baseball, football,
Favorite
favorite
movies?
movies.
Okay.
Because I know you love. And then
Moneyball's great. See, Moneyball's great because it's the story of Billy Beane. It's the story of the A's. That's a true story. Not many baseball movies are true stories, and that one is so special because of what Billy Beane did for not only the A's but for the sport of baseball. And you look at the Cubs right now, Theo Epstein. So Billy Beane at the end of the movie,
and Red Sox did it too.
exactly. Billy Beane at the end of the movie went to Boston and taught Theo Epstein everything he knew, and Red Sox won their World Series for the first time in 80-some years. Theo Epstein then comes to the Cubs, does the exact same thing. So I love that movie for everything that it did for
And the
baseball.
Astros
It's
are doing that
genius.
right now
It's
also.
genius. It really is genius. So I think that's definitely a great movie.
All right, what's your favorite baseball movie?
Favorite? I mean, Field of Dreams is a classic. That's a
Alright.
very good movie.
Sandlot.
Sandlot's good. Yeah, I love Sandlot. You know, bench warmers every now and then. It's a comedy. Good
Bench
comedy.
warmers.
It's a great comedy right there.
What? Gus Bus.
Yeah.
What a movie.
Yeah, that's a funny one.
That is a funny
That's a funny one.
Alright.
Angels in the Outfield. You ever seen Angels in the
Of
Outfield?
course.
That's a great one.
Of course.
Little
Flap
Big
those
Leagues.
arms.
Bad
flap-
News Bears. There's so many great baseball movies.
They're really. I mean, now that you think about it, I
So many.
couldn't think of one besides Moneyball for a second.
Yeah, yeah.
There are so many. I'm trying to think of one.
League of Their Own.
League of Their Own.
Wow, there's no crying in baseball.
No.
No crying in baseball.
No crying in baseball.
Great line. Great line.
What
Great
other?
movie.
Let's go to basketball. Like
Hoosiers?
Mike.
Hoosiers.
Like Mike is a good movie.
Like Mike, sure. Hoosiers. I think. is
Hoosiers,
probably the
of course, is a
basketball
classic.
one.
Glory Road.
Space Jam.
Space Jam.
Michael Jordan crossed with the Looney Tunes is the most genius idea ever.
That was a genius
They're-
idea.
I think they're coming out with the second one with LeBron.
Ooh.
I know that's gonna be a really good movie.
Icing and dicing.
Yeah.
Glory Road. I don't know if you've seen that one.
I've not. I've wanted to. It's been on the watch list.
I think we tried to watch it one
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
We've watched
I
a lot
heard
of
that's
movies.
a good one.
And then favorite Avenger. Sorry, before we go to
We're just favorite Avenger or favorite Avenger movie?
favorite Avenger movie.
Favorite Avenger movie. Well, Infinity War was phenomenal. For anyone out there that hasn't seen it, I highly recommend it.
We're not going to say anything else.
No, we
because
can't ruin it.
We can't ruin it. Of course.
Your mind's gonna be blown
All right.
into a million pieces.
And then, my favorite Avenger, of course, Captain America.
Captain America's a classic. It's a good one.
Call me Captain. Now we went baseball, basketball, football movie. What do we got?
Rudy. Definitely Rudy.
Rudy?
Rudy.
Rudy.
Great movie.
Good movie. Little Giants.
Never seen that one.
You've never seen Little Giants?
No.
Really?
What's it about?
It's hard. Okay, so there's actually a girl who is the subject of the movie.
Okay.
And she wants to play for her uncle's football team, who her uncle played for the Cowboys. Not a real
No.
Not a real movie.
Ooh.
Or real
I saw
story.
another one.
But she, I don't know how to. Okay, so she gets her dad to start his own football team, and they're called the Giants. The uncle's is the Cowboys, and because they can only have one Pee Wee football team in that city, they play each other in a game, and it's about her finding the daughter finds players, a bunch of friends, and they turn a bunch of kids who've never played football together into a team that
inspirational.
Right, and they use there's a guy who's actually using math to there's a formula that he uses for a play. It's called the annexation of Puerto Rico. Is one of the plays.
Yeah,
thought that's
sounds like a good movie.
Good movie.
I'll have to watch it sometime. You know, I just thought of Draft Day. You guys seen Draft Day?
Ooh.
Kevin Costner.
Ooh, that's a great movie.
Jerry Maguire, great movie because that's more of it's not focused as much on the football. It's more on the agent player side of football, which I think is very cool.
I don't know if these count, but 30 for 30s on football.
Sure,
they're always a good
really
one.
Good documentaries.
Always a good one.
Sure. What else? What other sport? Oh, obviously NHL. The best NHL movie. There's only one answer. It's Miracle.
Mighty Ducks, bro.
No,
I know, of course.
Mighty Ducks is good. You know.
Mighty Ducks is good. Miracle, I 100%
Miracle is
agree.
definitely the best hockey movie ever.
But Mighty Ducks is always out there. Third one I wasn't a huge fan of. The first one is...
I only saw the first one.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, one is good.
That was fine only seeing the first one.
Yeah, I 100% agree. The first one was great. What other hockey movies are there?
I feel like that's not a sport that make many movies of.
Right, it's hard to do.
Miracle's a very good movie.
Miracle
They did a very good job with that.
Again.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah. And when they're in the dark, skating back and forth, suicides all night.
It's like football season all over again.
Yeah.
40-40s.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh, those were the worst.
Yeah,
All right.
Sports movies are the best.
Sports movies are really the best. There's so many good ones. Hoosier, Moneyball, Draft Day, Miracle.
Yeah, we talked about a lot.
Field of Dreams. There's so many that they're very inspirational.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, there's some that are just outright hilarious.
Yeah, Benchwarmers.
Benchwarmers, Bad News Bears is always a good one.
Semi-Pro, classic comedy. Right?
And did you know actually that when they filmed Bad News Bears, the one in Houston,
Okay.
they brought out a bunch of schools to go watch the game, and my dad was there.
That's really cool.
So he saw the taping of the movie.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Interesting story.
Yeah.
That would have been fun to...
That would have been so fun to be. I've always wanted to go like a film set.
We should do our own film set.
We should. We're Bizarre Sports Radio, the movie.
Have a camera follow us. Oh wait, there's one right there.
No way. This whole thing's been a movie the whole time.
Can we edit that? Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, it is a movie, so
have a
we
camera
can
guy.
edit it. Yeah, we don't have a camera guy,
My
but
camera guy.
I mean, he's invisible.
His name's Tripod.
His name is Tripod. It's the newest Avenger. The newest Avenger. All right. Well, that's it's about to be the top of the hour.
Yeah.
We're not done yet.
No, we still got
time.
two more.
It's about to be the
two more
top
of these hours.
Right. It's about to be at the top of the hour at 4 o'clock here. We're gonna take a short little break. Once again, Bazar Sports Radio, Will Bazarski, Zach Dolans. We appreciated having Thomas Fitch early in the show. We'll be back around 4 o'clock. We're just going to take a short break. Stick around. Hour 2 is just beginning here. It's Bazar Sports Radio, KVRX, HD2. Will Bazarski, Zach Dolans, great guest Thomas Fitch earlier today. We'll have Phil Schee with Cleveland Cavalier knowledge a little bit later. Once again, we're going to continue with our little trend of talking about our previous shows since, unfortunately, this is the last one of the school year.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a good
Very
one.
sad. Well, we're going to start off talking about our Valentine's Day show.
We are. February 14th, 2018 show. We talked about the keys to the Texas Longhorn baseball season. 3 of them were win non-conference games, have an above 500 win percentage in Big 12 play, and the young guys need to fill the gaps because 11 guys are now playing in the minor league system. First off, non-conference games, how have they been doing this year?
How have we been doing this? We are 33-18 overall with 19-11 non-conference. That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
And they just won the series at Texas Tech, who is top 10 team.
Very good team.
So they are looking to possibly host a regional, which is big. And then we look at their Big 12 play, 14-7. The team is hitting 283 in conference play.
Mm-hmm. compared to 232 last season. I mean, that's a huge improvement. Like you said, we lost 11 guys to the MLB. Doesn't matter, we're better.
We are young guys are stepping up, and
they
once
are
again,
stepping up, which is the last.
right, last part.
Key.
Team is hitting 275 overall compared to 252 last season,
Mm-hmm.
and their on base percentage
383.
383 last season was
Very impressive.
359. One part of their game is their struggle so far, and that is
That's their pitching. A 4.62 ERA been posted for this year compared to a low 3.15 ERA last year. That's really good. So maybe we lost more pitchers to the draft than hitters. You think?
lost a lot of good pitchers.
Lost some good pitchers.
I think our hitting is just really stepping
Our
up.
hitting
It's getting a
is
lot
definitely stepped
of breathing room for our pitchers. Sure, they're giving up runs, but 33 and 18 is
Yeah,
good.
as long as the bats are hitting, that's what the Cubs are doing right now.
Right, and once the postseason begins, pitching is a big deal, and they have some good pitchers who can. Honestly, in college, if you can have pitchers who go 5 innings, and then you have relievers who can go 1 inning, continually, even sometimes 2 innings,
Mhm.
you're going to be very, very okay throughout the tournament because you need pitching. Sure, hitting is very key to it, and if you can put up big runs, gives a lot of comfort room and a lot of buffer room for the pitchers. But if you have pitchers who can solidify the strike zone and get there and continue winning games, that will be a big key to how far this Texas team goes throughout the year.
Definitely.
And another big talk of that day,
Yeah.
will Texas basketball be in the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, I remember we were on the edges of our seats waiting to find out. We were sitting in your house, Will. We were upstairs waiting on selection day, waiting to see if we were going to be in the tournament. And you know what?
Matt said no.
But you know what happened?
We made it.
We made that tournament.
We did make that tournament. And the tournament itself was so many ups and downs.
Mm.
And you had number 1 seed getting knocked off for the first time in the men's college basketball history. Harvard basketball did it. Their women's basketball team did it just a couple decades ago. It was very exciting games to watch. I don't think I've ever been as interested in the NCAA tournament as I was this year, even though Texas didn't go that far,
Yeah, that
which
kinda-
does kind of hurt. There were so many good games to watch.
Definitely.
So many great players in the college basketball ranks, some of them going on to the NBA, some are staying. It was really exciting to watch.
Yeah, speaking of going to the NBA, where do we think Mo Bamba's going to go? Season's all said and done for now.
I see him top 5 pick. I don't know where, though, but he's not going to be 1.
No, I think he's definitely a lottery pick. I don't know about top 5.
Guys he's a guy who, if you develop him, he'll be
He's a once-in-a-generation size guy. Like,
100%.
He'd have the longest wingspan in the NBA second he gets drafted.
Right. Top 5. I could see him going top 5. Lottery
I think he
makes
still
a
needs
little
to be.
bit more
I think
sense.
he still needs to be a little developed. I think he still needs some time. I think a team would be lucky to have him though if they could develop him.
100%. And yeah, once a next generation guy. I mean, size-wise, he's a big guy.
Mm.
He's a big guy. And we'll move on to February 21st. Biggest thing that day, JD Martinez signed with the Boston Red Sox.
And we were
How's
just
that
talking-
gone?
Yeah, we were just talking about how good the Red Sox have been this year, and JD Martinez has been a big help for that. He's hitting 349 right now. That is just absolutely absurd. With 8 home runs, 27 RBIs, and a 396 on base percentage.
Basically, every time he gets up to the plate, he gets on base 4 out of 10 times.
And he played so well. The Diamondbacks last year, their Coach of the Year because of guys like JD Martinez who stepped up and played huge for them going into the playoffs.
And these numbers show he continues to step up day in and day out. Truly remarkable. All right, last show of February the 28th. Kawhi could return in March.
That news was huge. When that
huge
came
news,
out.
and that didn't happen.
Didn't even come back for the playoffs.
We didn't predict that, so it wasn't
No.
our fault.
No, that was from the Spurs organization saying he'd be back.
It's like the Patriots organization saying there's nothing wrong. There's always something.
Yeah.
You just won't know about it. All right, and we talked about LeBron for MVP. This will continue to be something we talk about throughout this show, of course.
At that point, because James Harden was at that point still the man.
Right.
We all expected him. I was convinced at that point that it was James Harden. Now I'm a little not as convinced.
I was convinced James Harden throughout the entire NBA season. I don't know when I changed. I watched the videos of our show yesterday, and I couldn't catch when I switched my opinion because it didn't switch during the show. It switched days before. But I do believe LeBron James, the way he's playing, is the MVP of the LeBrons.
Yeah, he's had one of the greatest seasons of his career, and he's won MVPs before. And if he doesn't win it this year, it's...
And we talk about it. We talk about this MVP.
Not right.
The Fast Five fact of the day for me, especially on the 28th, LeBron on pace to play 82 games. First time that has happened in his 52-year career, or 15-year career.
Yeah, which is unbelievable. You talk about durability and always like stretching, the workouts that he does, the way he keeps himself in top like performance. It's unbelievable. If anyone could do that, it's amazing.
It is amazing, and this year has just been incredible for LeBron.
Mm-hmm.
Phil will talk about it when he comes in a little, just 30 minutes or so. But the career LeBron has had, let's just talk about that. It's extraordinary.
It really is.
I mean, I'm not gonna.
No, I can't wait for Phil to get in here. I'll start talking about
I'll let y'all.
comparisons to Michael Jordan.
Right, I'm gonna get y'all to talk about the comparison to Michael Jordan, LeBron James, who is the greatest player of all time. Now is like in this moment, like who's one, who's two. Because I think that's gonna be a great discussion. I'll facilitate that. Stick around. That should be around 3:30, 3:33. If you want to tune in for that, just because there's so many things you can argue. Championships.
No, we'll get there.
We'll get there. I'm not going to talk about it now, but there are so many arguments you can make that are valid. It's a personal opinion, but there are so many things that can change someone's mindset. All right, we're going to move on from that.
Another fast fact.
The Rockets were 30-3. They had 30 wins, 3 losses when James Harden and Chris Paul played. That would equate to an NBA record 74 wins.
Yeah, and we've seen the two of them play very well, continuing in the playoffs together.
And it's not even that they're playing well. I think you're just enjoying playing.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter that they're playing well.
Together.
That's going to be the biggest thing we're going to see over the next couple of years. Guys, once they get the free agent status, they're going to want to play with their friends. Sure, there's going to be loyalty to their city. I think now James Harden feels loyal to the city of Houston. I don't see him moving anytime soon.
Especially if they win this year.
Right. He has his team. It's his team. Same thing with Westbrook. It's the Thunder.
Yeah. The thing about Westbrook, we can talk about this for days if we wanted to. Westbrook's an interesting player because unlike LeBron, unlike Harden, he doesn't work well with others. I feel like he works best.
Hold on to that thought. We got there on March 7th. We'll go to that.
Okay.
Yeah, we have a lot to talk about on the 7th, but yeah, you're going to see a lot of players move to where their friends are, and that definitely helps the locker room itself.
Sure, and it helped the Miami Heat when LeBron wanted to join Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. They worked really well together because the three of them were friends going in, and they all wanted to come and play together. It did help.
Right, 100%. So, definitely something to look at. And then 1960, we'll talk about that. There's been 63 expansion teams in 4 major sports. None have had a winning record.
Wow.
And 21 finished with the worst record in the league. Vegas Golden Knights were 1 win away from clinching a winning record, and they still had 20 games to play.
Yeah.
How about that?
They were very good this season. Made it to the playoffs. What happened in the playoffs?
They're still in the playoffs.
They're still in the playoffs.
Still in the playoffs. Still looking good. Just defeated the San Jose Sharks. And what was it that Matt said? If the Knights won, he would. I don't even know what he said, but he was like, "I'm gonna hate myself forever."
Yeah. No, he's a big Kings fan, man.
Big Kings fan.
Yeah.
All right. Now we have March 7th. Ichiro signed a 1-year deal with the Seattle Mariners.
Right, and it was actually just announced last week, I believe, that he's retiring right now.
And our question that day was, how long will he play? He's 44 years of age now.
Yeah, so he's now stepped away. He's going to take on a front office role.
Right.
He's going to do so much for whatever team he works for. I mean, he knows baseball better than a lot of people in the world. Like, he's been around it for his entire life. All-time leader in hits professionally, whether it be Japan and America combined. So definitely a great guy to have on any team.
Right, and yeah, he's going to help out in any way he possibly can.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we'll see what happens there. All right. Also, that day, March 7th, Kirk Cousins was deciding between the Vikings and the Jets. And we asked each other, where we saw him best fit in the organizations. And we all said the Vikings.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, he's on the Vikings. So we were right about something.
Yeah, and the Jets end up getting their QB in the draft, right?
They got their guy, and their CEO, I think it was who came out, or maybe their GM
Yeah, no, I think
came out and said
right.
that in 20 years you'll look at this draft and say Sam Darnold was a guy who changed this organization.
Yeah.
So definitely a big step for them.
Yeah, and I think the Jets saw this coming in. They knew that they were going to get their guy in the draft, which is why they didn't pursue
Right.
Cousins as hard.
Oh, 100%. So definitely a guy to look forward to. Kirk Cousins with the Minnesota Vikings, and of course Sam Darnold with the New York Jets. All right, Zach, I'll let you talk about this one.
Also on this day, we were saying that there was buzz regarding Jimmy Graham moving back to New Orleans from Seattle. So we knew he was going. We just were wrong about the place. And let me say, I have mixed feelings about him coming to Green Bay. As you know, I'm a Green Bay Packers fan. But the cost that the Green Bay Packers had to get him was giving up Jordy Nelson, who was my favorite player on the team. And I was pretty sad about that. But Jimmy Graham, best tight end I believe that Aaron Rodgers has ever played with. It's going to be very interesting to see how Aaron Rodgers uses a tight end like Jimmy Graham, both very good at blocking and a very good receiving tight end in the red zone. So
Right.
I think it is good for the Packers organization. I think he's going to help lead us again to the playoffs. But it's going to be sad without Jordy. The Raiders, on the other hand, now signing Jordy Nelson.
The Raiders are set. We could say that.
They also just signed like Martavis Bryant.
Right.
Now they have Martavis Bryant,
They have a good
Cooper,
team.
and Jordy Nelson.
They really
with
do.
Derek Carr, quarterback, who has been very good in recent years. So I think the Raiders are going to be good. But Jimmy Graham on Green Bay, I'm going to be interested to see how that works out. But I'm fine with it.
I think it will help Aaron Rodgers to some extent.
It will.
Right. So we'll see what happens there. We're going to have to wait till week 1. But I understand what they're doing. Jordy Nelson was injured.
He is their franchise guy, though.
He was their franchise guy, but Jimmy Graham's on the market. He's a big wide receiver. He can block. Sure, I'm not trying to doubt Jordy Nelson and his skill set because he is phenomenal at what he does and for what he did for Green Bay. But this could just be a new stepping stone, and Aaron Rodgers, he now has a bigger target than Jimmy Graham. Definitely could help out. All right. I said to wait on the Russell Westbrook talk. Was Russell Westbrook, Carmelo Anthony, and Paul George a bust?
Well, now we can see after losing in the first round to the Utah Jazz that they were a bust because although they made the playoffs, they were a 4 seed, which is impressive and all, but they didn't do more than what anyone thought that they would do. Everyone expected a playoff at least from them. They didn't really outlive anyone's expectations, in my opinion.
Yeah, Russell just has a hard time playing with star players. He was very good at it at the beginning of his career with Durant, Harden. Once they went away, I think that changed his entire philosophy of how he plays. Because now it was, instead of him having guys around him, for a couple of years it was, here you go, just you. See what you can do. And unfortunately, that didn't work out.
Right.
So the entire mindset of how he plays has transpired over the last couple of years.
So what do we think is going to happen now with these 3 guys? Russell Westbrook, Paul George, Carmelo Anthony. I think it's going to be really interesting to see what happens. They're definitely going to be disbanded, in my opinion. I don't think all 3 of them will be
No, they're not
next
staying.
year.
I 100% agree.
Paul George has a lot of options. The Pacers, it was either the GM, CEO, owner, something like that, came out today, said that they'd be interested in bringing him back based on how they think that he would fit on the team.
That was a huge win for them. They got Victor Oladipo.
Oh my God, the trade definitely worked out.
Oh,
for the
100%.
Pacers and the better. I think the Pacers are going to be a very good team moving forward. You saw what they were able to do to the Cleveland LeBrons in the first round.
Cleveland LeBrons, I love that so much.
They put up a very good fight. Victor Oladipo, in my opinion, should be the most improved player in the NBA this year. He led the NBA in steals per game. He is a very good offensive player as well. Led this team. I don't know if you would want Paul George back.
No. I mean, it's Oladipo's team.
He could help any team.
It is
Paul
Oladipo's
George is a very
team.
good player, but it's Oladipo's team.
And we talked about these young guys.
Right.
Oladipo is one of those young guys who...
Right. The question is, can he become a star?
Right. That is the biggest question. We'll see what happens. Now, Paul George, there are so many pros and cons to that. Indiana does love him. They love Paul George. And honestly, losing him, getting Oladipo, and then bringing him back, may be one of the greatest GM ideas ever. Because they got...
Yeah, I think it's going to be up to Paul George a little bit too. I think he's going to want to go somewhere like L.A., maybe even San Antonio.
Ooh, that could be an interesting move.
Yeah,
Because if he goes to San Antonio, will Kawhi stay in San Antonio?
right. I think that they work
That could
very
be a
well
big
together.
decider.
I think they'd work very well together.
That could be another one of those friendships that we were talking about that
Yeah.
could really help where a player goes.
And then you have Carmelo Anthony on the other hand, who is not a locker room guy, and there's really no teams that want him right now.
Right.
So as great as a player as he has been, he's never really had success on any team, and I don't think any team really wants him right now.
Right, that's true. All right. Before we let's talk about let's go on to some facts.
Yeah,
we'll
let's
we'll
do
move
some
on from the show.
Zach's facts. And
Zach's
interesting
facts
factoids.
first, and then we'll go to on this day in sports. Zach, hit us off.
So as we've already talked about with the no-hitters earlier in the show, Paxton the other day no-hit the Blue Jays. It was the 5th time the Blue Jays had been no-hit in their franchise history. The first time since about 7 years ago to Justin Verlander and the Tigers. This was the 6th no-hitter in Mariners history, and Paxton did it on only 99 pitches, which is very impressive to go a game. Only 99 pitches and to no-hit them. It was the first time that there have been 3 no-hitters in an MLB season by May 8th since 1969. I think that's one of the most impressive stats about this is that we already have 3 no-hitters this season. I know we talked about it in previous shows that we talked about last year the record was set for most amount of home
Right.
runs in an MLB season, and this year we're seeing a lot lower scoring than we have in previous years, and that could be due to the much better pitching than we've ever seen before, and there have already been 3 no-hitters this season. Very quick for that to happen.
And like you said earlier, 3 no-hitters in 3 different countries.
Yeah, which is very cool.
So, right.
Yeah, so that's awesome. What else happened on this day, on May 9th? What happened on May 9th in history?
May 9th, 1973, for the second time, Johnny Bench, 3 home runs in 1 game.
Yeah.
How about that?
Could be one the greatest catcher of all time, really.
Yeah, that was actually my favorite player growing up. I caught, and I have a couple of helmets signed by him.
That's really cool.
He
If only we got
he
to
was
see
a class
him play.
act.
If only we got to see him play.
Only we got to see him play. He was. It's actually funny because one of the most inspirational things that I saw him do was throw from his knees. So I always try. Whenever I warm up, I'd always learn to throw from my knees.
Yeah.
And dude, it's hard.
Yeah.
The fact that he could get that
So
ball
much
out
strength.
that quickly,
Mhm.
I bet I could get it there, but not like him. Jeez. He was
Yeah.
he was another
Revolutionary catcher, really.
100%.
Mhm.
All right, one more. Orioles Eddie Murray, not Eddie Murphy. I thought it was. I want to be honest. I read it Eddie Murphy.
Different person.
I didn't know he played baseball.
Right.
All right, Eddie Murray in 1987, first to switch hit home runs in 2 consecutive games.
Yeah, and now we have Ian Happ yesterday for the first time in his career hit a home run from both sides of the plate as a switch hitter.
Yeah,
Could happen again.
it could happen. You never know. You never know. All right, one more fact from you, Zach. You have any more?
Yeah. I got one more fact for you. Let's see. We already talked about CP3 and the Rockets. We have Mark Ingram yesterday was announced to be suspended for 4 games in the upcoming season for PEDs. He's been using steroids well. And if you look at last season...
I have not been using steroids.
No,
That was
yeah,
your next question.
That was not my next question.
All right, just making sure.
I know you're naturally this built. Don't worry.
Thank you. That's what I wanted to hear.
And if you look at Mark Ingram from last season, Mark Ingram had career highs in rushing yards, rushing touchdowns, receptions, and receiving yards. And this is in a year where he also shared time with Alvin Kamara, who won Offensive Rookie of the Year for the Saints. And do you think it's a coincidence that he just happened to have this good a year while he was on PEDs? It seems almost obvious at this
Right,
point.
obvious.
Right? Yeah.
But Saints are in good hands.
Saints are definitely in good hands with Alvin Kamara. It is not that big of a deal for them that Mark Ingram is not going to be with them for the first 4 games. And for all you fantasy people out there, look for Alvin Kamara as a very good draft pick.
Are you a fantasy person?
I am a fantasy person.
You're more a fantasy basketball, though, right?
I don't really do that much fantasy basketball. I do like watching basketball a little bit more, but fantasy football is like
Fantasy football.
fantasy football is my thing.
Who's your number 1 pick this year?
Oh,
If you're the
pick
first
this year.
overall pick.
I don't know.
Aaron Rodgers.
I haven't done much research yet this year. You're never gonna take a quarterback.
Right, exactly.
I don't know. That's tough.
Would you draft Saquon in the first round?
I would say yes because it's tough. We don't really see the quarterbacking situation in New York looking very good right now.
Right.
Don't really know what's going to happen there. And Barkley is what a running back.
He is a good running back, and he could be the guy to help out Eli Manning.
He's going to
and
be the offensive.
Odell
Giants this
Beckham.
year.
Right, no. They're gonna split the running and passing game.
He's going to get a lot.
We're gonna
of
see
rushes.
probably 55% at least on the ground this year.
Mhm.
Whereas in the past, you see more of passing game from Eli.
Yeah, and especially without ever a good running back in New York, really.
That's true. Ahmad Bradshaw, that was a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, he was decent. But that was a long time ago.
Tiki Barber even longer ago.
Oh my God, I forgot Tiki played for them.
Yeah.
His brother,
Rondé Barber, I
I
think.
think he played for Dallas.
Maybe.
Or maybe Tiki
Tampa.
played, yeah, something like that. And we talked about our favorite sports movies.
Mhm.
What was your favorite sporting event this past year?
Favorite sporting event? That's a tough one.
That's a
You
tough-
should
I mean, it's a
throw
tough
that
one.
on me right there.
I'm sorry, I gotta do it.
Let's see what happened this past year in sports.
We'll do the school year. So from August 1st till today.
Sure. So we have
We have the World
we have
Series.
the Houston Astros World Series.
I'm gonna go
That's
first.
definitely your second pick.
That's my first.
We have an Eagles Super Bowl.
We have the Masters we can even talk about.
Masters was good.
March Madness.
March Madness.
We
Yeah,
have-
but that's Texas got eliminated in the first round. Wasn't that exciting for me?
We have the MLB baseball. I don't know if there's a
Baseball's
game that really
so
got
far.
to you. I mean, I don't know.
I
Is
think
it,
just overall, it's been just a really good year. I mean, basketball, nothing's really.
or was it the Chicago Bulls game against the Houston Rockets and the Blackhawks game
Yeah,
against the Edmonton
so that was
Oilers?
just like a great couple.
When
of
I
days.
was there.
That was just back-to-back days.
That
at
was
the United Center. That could have been
and
the greatest.
food.
sports thing.
Don't forget the
Never
food.
forget the food in Chicago.
Portillo's. I mean,
Portillo's, we got Dewey's Pizza.
we
we have our guest. He's walking around aimlessly right now.
we have our guest here. He'll be here in just a second. He's gonna wait. We'll bring him in right now. We'll introduce him. Phil Schee, Papa Squat, right there. Welcome in. Cleveland native. We'll hear him talk about the Cleveland Cavaliers in just a second. But before we do, we're going to go straight to a 30-second break. And once again, Bazar Sports Radio HD2, KVRX HD2, I apologize. You're listening to that, Bazar Sports Radio. Will Bazarski, Zach Dolans, and Phil Schee will be on in just 30 seconds. We'll be right back. Welcome back, KVRX HD2. Bazar Sports Radio once again. Will Bazarski, Zach Dolans, and of course we have Phil Schee is back. Not back, it's first time here. Welcome, Phil. Phil,
Thank you for
Cleveland
having me,
native,
Will.
freshman here at the University of Texas. How's your first year going here?
It's going very well. I'm enjoying the weather, especially right now.
87 degrees, you love it.
I
Oh
love
my
it.
God,
I do.
love it.
I didn't get any snow this year, but it's been a great year.
Good to hear. All right. Like we said, we're going to talk about this Cleveland Cavaliers team. We mentioned earlier in the show they were 2-8 at one point in the season, first time in 11 years LeBron
They were
has done.
2-8.
No, there was a
2-8,
10 game
10-game stretch.
There was a 10 game
That's
streak where
right.
they went 2-8, which was LeBron's.
Oh, he watches games.
Which was LeBron's worst 10 game streak since 2000. What was it? 2011.
2011.
Or no, it was
11 years.
ago. It was
2007.
It was 2007.
Okay.
That was his worst 10 game streak since 2007, and we did not know how they'd recover. Looking back now, we see.
We see how they're recovering. What did you see? Let's talk about the beginning of the year till now. What have you seen that's been different over the course of the year?
First, let me start by saying I'm probably the biggest Cleveland sports or Cavs fan specifically that you will ever have on the show.
I don't
But
know if I'm, gonna
I'm not going to try to let my bias get into this discussion. So at the beginning of the season, I think there was a lot of optimism, but I also think the potential was lower because we didn't have Kyrie Irving anymore.
Right.
And Isaiah Thomas, I was very optimistic about him. I was optimistic about Jay Crowder. I thought we got a good return in the trade. Obviously, that didn't work out very well. The Cavs
Right.
showed some signs of life before Isaiah Thomas came back from injury, but after that, it was time for a change. And
Yeah.
the trades that were made weren't anything insane. I think it was just the fact that there were so many of them and they happened so quickly in relation to each other. But Isaiah Thomas was injured at the end of the season.
Right.
Jay Crowder contributed to the Jazz playoff run, but I think that trade was the best thing that could have happened because immediate success wasn't achievable with that trade. But now that team, it's the perfect time for them to finally start to figure it out, and that's what that's what the product on the court was these past 4 games against the Raptors.
Right, but
they're
is
just
that-
finally starting to figure it out.
Is that the team figuring it out, or is it playoff LeBron? Like, there's
Or-
I think
Hold
it's a combination of both.
All right. Do you call them the Cleveland Cavaliers or the LeBron Cavaliers or
the Cleveland.
Cleveland LeBrons?
We're still a team, and
Yeah,
I'm
no,
a Cavs
okay,
fan.
I know.
I'm not here to talk about
Totally.
LeBron individually.
Yeah,
I
you
don't,
will
I
in a
don't, I
second.
don't
You
like
will
the
in a
LeBron bandwagoners.
We're not.
That's
I'm
not-
not.
that's
a
not
LeBron.
me.
and I mean Kevin Love's been helpful.
Kevin
Last
Love
couple
is
games.
finally
Kyle
woken up.
Korver's been
Kyle
shooting very
Korver's
well.
been great.
We're
They're doing
obviously
good.
just joking, but just looking at his numbers, it's
It's unfair, really.
unfair. I mean, he is producing a mass amount of points. We saw earlier. There's actually LeBron James scored 136 points in the
Season.
4-game series.
Yeah,
in the series.
Lowry and DeRozan scored, I think, 138.
Correct.
Yeah.
He's
I don't
producing.
know whether to be more embarrassed on Lowry and DeRozan's behalf
Right,
or be more
impressed.
proud on LeBron's behalf.
I think it's more proud on LeBron's.
And
behalf.
I am.
I think it's a little both.
And I think I don't like I've never seen nobody that I know has ever seen a player at this age
do what
just
he's done.
perform like he is. And it's just
Except for
we're watching
Dolphins.
greatness. And we should be very
No, we should
be
appreciate
very
it. I agree.
appreciative of what we're watching, even if you're a Celtics fan, even if you're a huge Warriors fan.
or a Houston fan. I mean, yeah, you're right.
You should be
100%.
realizing that you're witnessing greatness.
I will say
For
though,
sure.
I've been to
Because Cleveland is a city of greatness.
I've
okay, so that might be a
hold
little
on, hold
pushing
on,
it. That might
hold
be
on.
pushing
Before we go on with that, I will say I went to one game where LeBron played the Rockets, and
Do you know which year this was?
I don't know
Was it the year that Harden kicked him?
I don't remember
in-
what. Hold on,
in
I don't
the-
remember
the
what year.
groin
I've
area.
seen him play one time, and that might have been the coolest experience. Just watching LeBron play. I've seen the Warriors play. Just watching LeBron play, how he goes throughout the entire game. It's incredible to watch.
Especially-
It was like watching Randy Johnson pitch, or
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many.
He's
Derek
so
Jeter
professional.
play. David Ord. I mean, there's so many high class players to watch play. LeBron is above and all one of those guys to watch and play. I remember someone told me they were going home for a San Antonio Spurs game because they wanted to see LeBron play, and that's their dream to watch LeBron play.
Right.
He's, like you said, that kind of elite status player that watching him play just gets you excited. I know watching on TV is different than watching in person. You've been to games. You have to just talk about it. What's the experience?
His competitive spirit right now is just in most athletes, regardless of the sport, is something that starts to decline by that age.
Mhm.
But he still plays every game like he's that 25-year-old or 22-year-old that scored 25 straight
He's that
points in the
same ambition.
2007 Eastern Conference Finals. He still plays exactly like that.
Yeah.
Never forget.
Never forget.
And I'm going to throw those stats at you just to
No, that's
remind
good.
you of greatness. Because that's what we're witnessing. Greatness.
We are
sure,
witnessing.
Sure, but he's not the greatest of all.
All right.
And
And
I
Zach-
agree with that.
Oh, you do agree with
I
that?
do agree that he's not the greatest of all time.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yet.
yeah.
But I think he has the highest basketball IQ of all time. I think that's just
That's-
you
yeah.
can't debate that.
All right. We're gonna let y'all
That's
debate this
interesting. I
one
didn't
because
know about
now that you're saying that he's the not yet part, we're gonna say this is LeBron. Let's just say LeBron wins one more championship.
Do you think LeBron?
If it's at the expense of the Golden State Warriors with at full strength, then he is undoubtedly the best basketball player to have ever graced the
All right,
planet.
Zach, you have Michael Jordan. Let's take it away.
Do you think LeBron's the greatest athlete to ever play basketball?
The greatest athlete to ever play basketball.
Do you think he's the
Yeah.
most athletic player?
Yeah.
I still think Jordan's more athletic.
Where?
than
Well,
him.
why?
Well, Jordan, one for one.
Jordan didn't have a post game like LeBron. Jordan didn't.
Jordan wasn't as big as
He was
LeBron. He wasn't as
exactly.
big as
So
LeBron.
then
He's more
that
athletic.
answers our question. Athletic.
Well,
like,
Jordan
the-
has the highest recorded
The physical ability of LeBron's body is just
Vertical
more
to
than.
the vertical.
Jordan
I
has
don't
the
care
highest
about-
recorded vertical of all time.
Because I didn't see Jordan
He
chase
was-
down blocks
he was
on
a-
Sports
I had the
Center.
highest
he was a
vertical-
better defensive player than LeBron.
I had the highest vertical at Callaway. Come on, relax. All right, go on.
Jordan, I believe, was a better defensive player than LeBron James. But the argument for LeBron is yes, he can guard more positions than Jordan because he's bigger than Jordan. No one can
Look,
guard.
at the end of the
guard
day,
position like
I
Jordan.
really don't. It's just not even a. It's just a stupid debate in my opinion because
Because we'll never
they
get
played at different times. One
Oh,
at
100%.
Pippen, one I played against these bad boy Pistons. LeBron had to, like.
deal with the war.
I just want to say though that if you look over the past 10 years, LeBron ended the Wizards season like 5 times. He just didn't allow for any progression in that franchise. You saw what he just did to the Raptors. It's probably going to spark a rebuild within a franchise that won 59 games this season
Yeah.
and is
All right.
firing their coach of the year. Is in talks to fire their coach of the year. That was all because of LeBron. LeBron, like on the Heat, he ended the Celtics' Big Three dynasty. Like, LeBron has changed the course of basketball.
That's a really good point.
Yes,
The league has revolved around him for the past 10 or so years.
and we can even argue before LeBron, the league revolved around Michael Jordan. Before that, you have guys like Larry Bird, Magic Johnson. I don't think that before that time you had the revolution you're having in these last two.
I actually see it in a different way than you. I just think that because just this happens in every sport, just the talent today is so much better than it was back then, you know. The overall talent of
Oh, right.
the pool of athletes, the pool
There's
of
a
basketball
larger
players
pool
in
of
our
athletes.
country. There's way more talented players, so a player like DeMar DeRozan isn't getting the hype. I think DeMar DeRozan is garbage, by the way, but I don't think these stars are getting the hype
I
that
think
Larry
it's-
Bird and Magic Johnson and all those guys did, just because there was more of a select few
Yeah, you look
back
at
then.
you even look at guys like Damian Lillard. Like, he is a phenomenal.
He's a great player, and he's one of
And
the
then-
league's best players,
And
but
then,
he's
and then I
not.
hear people say he's the off-brand
But
Steph Curry.
it's because he's a small market team. That's a big point.
Small market
I
team.
don't think that makes a difference.
He plays just like
That
Steph
does-
Curry.
that
What
does
about
help.
LeBron? LeBron
LeBron,
plays in Cleveland.
right? But LeBron is a different. He's a
Fine.
different market.
Fine.
We can't. I'm not
Okay.
going to compare that market.
It's also the Western Conference versus the Eastern Conference. LeBron runs the East. He always has run the East.
Right.
When you have the West, you have.
But did you
much
say
more
that 2 weeks
powerhouses.
ago when we were down 1-0 to the Pacers? I don't think so.
What?
He's gone to the championship for seven
it's just
straight,
funny
6
to
straight
me
years.
that LeBron's trajectory just models people's opinions or what they're saying. Like one day it's the East
Oh,
is
totally.
Hold on.
good,
He loses
LeBron's
one game, all of a
overrated,
sudden, yeah,
and it's like,
it's not-
oh my God, the Raptors are just the
Now,
most overrated team
we
ever.
we talked about this earlier in the show because we were actually going show by show of what we said, and I think it was. I'm going to go back to January 28th. We said LeBron for MVP. February 20th. I'm sorry, February 20th. We
Same
said
difference.
LeBron for MVP. All the talks before that was James Harden. The amount of scrutiny that I've told people, LeBron is the MVP.
Yeah,
The
me
amount of
too.
scrutiny people are giving, oh no, it's James Harden. I don't understand it. LeBron, sure, he has, Kevin Love. He's carrying an entire franchise. I'm sorry. I know that you don't like monetizing one player. I get it.
No, I don't enjoy the MVP debate because in the end, every single person who's associated with the sport of basketball refers to LeBron as the best player on the planet right now. That had nothing to do with,
Sure.
he's the best player right now. He's the
Right.
best player in the game. And he's won MVPs, he's won titles. Harden hasn't, what has he really done in this league? I know he's been an all-star, I know he's scoring
Right.
title, whatnot, but this
So he's
series,
gonna win out
so
of pity.
we were-
this series
hold-
coming up is his biggest moment of his
Hold on.
career.
We were saying that the reason why we think James Harden will win the MVP. Now, we don't think he deserved it.
I agree.
The
And that's
reason,
the consensus.
right?
He
The
is
reason
gonna win.
for it is because, like you just said, his resume doesn't show it. He needs an MVP. He needs an NBA championship in order to boast his resume.
And we know that
LeBron
he's
already
very
has
good.
that.
And we know that he's very good and that he does deserve to be
Right.
rated very highly. But it's hard to do that in an era of LeBron.
Oh, 100%. I mean, when he's putting up these kind of numbers at this age, and like you said, he's playing like he's 25 years old. He's playing with the same.
He takes care of his body. It's
He
what
does.
was, what
He
was
does.
that?
He really
Tyson
does.
Ichiro or something?
Yeah, there's Tom Brady. Either way, the way that he goes about carrying himself. Off
he
the
dedicates himself to the game, and he dedicates his efforts to taking care of his body, and it's paying off for him at this point in his career.
Yeah.
That's about all I can say.
All right.
court. I mean, you're not wrong.
All right. So we're not going to debate the.
What we could keep talking about is the Eastern Conference
Right.
playoffs right now. What do you think? Well, first of all, I want your opinion on Philly versus Boston. Boston's up 3-1 right now. What do you think's going to happen in the series?
The game starts in, I think, like 2 hours. I think Boston will win. And I really, really, really hate the disrespect towards Boston. And this is coming from a Cavs fan. We battled with Boston over the years. I don't like Boston. I hate their fans. I hate the
Hey, watch
fan
it.
base. That's a strong word, but I'm not, I don't like Boston in particular. I'm a big Terry Rozier fan. But why are the Sixers continuously favored in every single game in the
Oh, that
series?
makes no sense to me either. They're
Celtics are
they're
out.
favored in Boston.
Look,
The first 2 games, they've favored both of the first 2 games.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
but I will say this: the Celtics management, the Celtics organization
Stevens.
is just full of geniuses. Danny Ainge, I
agree.
I know Kyrie's hurt right now, but look what they have coming for next year. And right now, they're on the brink of a chance at the finals. I think the Cavs will end up in the finals, but
Right.
I don't think they're. I think the Celtics will put up more of a fight than the Raptors. They've been here before.
I agree.
Who's the rookie of the year for you? Because there's a lot of great rookies playing right now. You have Donovan Mitchell playing. You have Jason
I could answer
Tatum.
that in a couple different ways.
All right.
So you saw what just happened with Donovan Mitchell. You see what's going on in the Sixers series. If the voters allow what they've seen in the playoffs so far to cloud their judgment,
That doesn't, though. That doesn't
Should that play into
of
consideration?
course.
No.
Now,
It doesn't.
if the race is between and one player didn't end up making the playoffs, that's obviously unfair.
Right. That's true.
Should
They
a
both-
guy be rookie of the year if he couldn't take his team to the playoffs? In a year where Donovan Mitchell single-handedly took his team to the playoffs. Forget what he did in the playoffs. He took his team to a 5th seed in the playoffs.
It's sort of like how
In the Western Conference.
it's kind of like in the MLB where they have they don't decipher the rookie of the year in the postseason, rookie of the year in the regular season, but they have distinguished completely playoff MVP or like World Series MVP, playoff MVP, all that stuff.
Yeah, they
And
do.
then-
But
for the series.
let's forget about the battle between those two players for a second. Ben Simmons isn't a rookie.
Ben
I
Simmons-
know by definition he is.
Thank you.
Same
Thank
thing
you.
happened to Blake
But he's
Griffin.
been in the league for 2 years and he's been an
With the
NBA,
organization.
like he already got adjusted to the transition, and he was already adjusted a
Agreed.
year in advance. While Mitchell was a late round draft pick out of Louisville, they never obviously there was all those type of scandals. Simmons was more ready. Simmons didn't. I don't think he ever went to class at LSU. He left the campus pretty much after the season ended and immediately started preparing for the NBA. He has LeBron mentoring him. He's not a rookie. And let's add to that. Let's look at the shots that he's been taking this series. He doesn't know how to handle himself in late game situations. You saw the one that I'm talking about where he got the offensive board and could have won the game for them and tried to put it right back up. That was something you'll never ever see LeBron do. So.
Oh, we're not comparing him to LeBron.
Well, I've heard
Well,
those comparisons, and I don't think
we're talking about
they're
rookie of the year.
justified.
Hold on. Let's move from the rookie of the year. Colin Cowherd said he was more excited, or I don't know how he said it, but basically Ben Simmons is the next coming of LeBron.
No, he might be. I've seen flashes from him that I haven't seen from a player since LeBron was a rookie, but it's his first year playing the league. Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
He has the athleticism.
Let him make an All-Star
He
game
has
first.
the intelligence.
Let him.
Gets an NBA Finals.
That's just look. And I will say this: I don't think the Sixers, if they do lose tonight or they lose in 6 or even 7, deserve any disrespect because
No,
you
they
look at
shouldn't.
the whole trust the process. This
Process
is the process.
has worked.
They literally are in the second round of the playoffs. There's only 8 teams that make it that far out of 30. You have to respect them. The opportunity they had, honestly, they could be in the finals. They could easily be in the finals. They had a depleted Celtics team, and then if they really, you saw them in the regular season. They beat the Cavs, went up by 30 on them. May have been a wasted opportunity, but it's a wasted opportunity for any team in the East.
Yeah, no. I will say, the 76ers, a lot of their problems has come from coaching.
Yeah.
You've seen it. I mean, calling timeouts.
Up until this year, it's been injuries too. Has been a big problem.
Well, I'm talking about now. Like this series with Boston, you've seen a lot of coaching issues.
Sure.
Some,
I agree.
they made some really bad decisions on play calling, on when to call timeouts. Brad Stevens, however, there was a
He's been
play
doing
where
everything right.
one of the I
Everything
don't remember who
Brad
was
Stevens
shooting.
is a genius.
Right, one of their guys was shooting, and he called a timeout before he get the shot off. It's a bad shot. I mean, nobody thinks about doing that in a bad shot situation. I haven't seen it in a while, but like you said, Brad Stevens, and we talk about this throughout the entire
the
semester.
76ers are getting outplayed and they're getting outcoached, and that's why they're down 3-1.
Totally.
It is not about the talent. If you put those two teams on paper, the 76ers beat them by 20 any day.
But
But I will
Except
give a
for
shout out
Kyrie
to
Irving.
I'll give a shout out to Shaker Heights zone, Terry Rozier. He's making himself money right now.
He
He's
really
going to
is.
get a huge
He's
contract.
playing out of
I don't know the details about his current contract, but he's playing out of his mind.
He is playing out of his
He
mind.
put Eric Bledsoe to bed.
Now, looking forward to the series against the Cavaliers, how big of a difference is not having Kyrie Irving? How big is the difference?
For the Celtics?
For that series against the Cavs.
I mean, it's...
Is that the make
you
or break
can't
part of
measure
the
the
series?
difference. Yeah. Because we go... If the Celtics had Kyrie, maybe they'd be the 1 seed and we'd already... Everything would be different, but the most important difference, if we're going into this series against Kyrie, it's LeBron versus Kyrie. It's not, Cavs are probably going to be in the finals again. It's not an injury to play the Celtics team. And then if you even want to take it a step further, Gordon Hayward's in a suit on the end of the Celtics bench too. So
yeah, you look at next year's Celtics.
You look at next year's teams. There's going to be a lot of competition throughout the entire league,
Totally.
especially in the East where we can.
well, we don't know what's going to happen with LeBron. I can't sit here and say
That
he's going back to Cleveland because I've been through that before. But
Where will he end? Where's your? If he doesn't end up in Cleveland, where will he end up?
1,000,000% Philly. I think,
Philly?
I think that is the smartest.
That's like my fifth option.
Might be the
Now I don't.
strongest.
But then we got other dominoes falling into place. I don't know what's going to happen with Kawhi. Redick, he's on a
Right,
$123
Kawhi
mil
talked about.
contract. It's all a bunch of puzzle pieces, and some of those puzzle pieces are games. Tonight's game, if the Sixers lose, well, then they can make the pitch to LeBron. Look, we made the conference semifinals. We're you away from a championship.
Or if they end up coming back, they can make the pitch.
And
Well, I don't know if they make the conference finals. I don't know why they would want. I guess everyone.
Well, if
wants
they
everyone.
make the conference finals and LeBron can beat them with his current team, then
right,
Then,
there's no.
then if LeBron
I-
joins them, then they're gonna
Well,
be unbelievable.
well,
I don't
he
think
knows he can
LeBron's,
beat them with their-
LeBron's interested in joining a team that he could soundly beat.
I guess.
I don't know. There's a lot of things coming.
There's a lot of things.
NBA
that could happen.
offseason is the most entertaining out of any sport.
I agree for sure. I love it.
Matt would argue NHL offseason, but he's not here for that one.
Yeah, NHL just doesn't interest me. I don't know what it is.
All right, fair. All right, any more Cleveland stuff we have? Cleveland, any basketball? What do you think? Rockets, Warriors. Warriors being favored in Houston. What's your
Warriors in 5.
take? Warriors and.
I don't trust the Rockets. I'm sorry. I love my Houston friends, but
No, I understand.
James Harden,
Your opinion. I
he
get it.
hasn't been the MVP so far in the playoffs.
But Chris Paul has been playing insane.
And Clint
Chris Paul's had
Capella.
a couple good
Talk about
games,
Clint
but
Capella.
Chris Paul, the problem is
Chris Paul knows how to.
you
carry
have
this team.
Chris
He
Paul,
needs to.
you have that whole Rockets team, like this Western Conference Finals is like their big moment, the biggest
Yeah,
moment they've ever
yeah,
been in.
yeah.
Warriors, this is their 4th Western Conference Finals in a row. It's just another playoff series. They don't have home court advantage, and I think they're angry about that, and I think they're going to go on the road and win one of the first 2 games and win it in 5. I don't see how the Rockets could win a game in Oracle.
Oh, well,
if-
we talked about it earlier.
I know
before
how
we got
hard
here,
that is.
That the Warriors are on a 15-game home win streak in the playoffs, which ties the NBA all-time record. So, like you said, they're not losing.
And that was the 90-91 Bulls.
Look, the Rockets, they need these 2 home. They need to take care of business at home. You can't lose a home game. You can't lose game 1 or game 2. You got to go to Golden State with a 2-0 lead. I think the
You're gonna
Rockets
drop at least one
I think
game.
the Rockets' only way to win the series is if they don't lose a game at home.
Right, that would
Yeah,
take the
And
seven.
luckily they have
because
home court
because
advantage.
the Warriors aren't losing at home either.
Right, exactly.
Exactly.
Goes
So it
to
could go
7.
7, or it could be Warriors in 5.
I
or
don't think
4.
it ends in 5. It's gonna
There's
be
no
6.
way it ends in 4 either.
No,
This is definitely not a series that goes 4.
I don't think the Rockets will let that happen. to
no. I
themselves,
think
but
the Rockets want this very bad.
I think it's gonna be Warriors in 5. I don't think the Rockets know what they're about to be exposed to.
I don't think anyone knows what's about to happen. I mean, both teams, like you said, home court.
Oh, yeah,
gonna
I
be
mean, you
huge
have-
for
you have-
this.
And you have an unstoppable force.
I will say that we should be happy about the parity that we have this year in the NBA because last year and the year before it was just Cavs and Warriors.
Right.
And now you look at both conference final series, even semifinals, like we have great storylines in both conferences, and we don't know.
It's become more.
There's no. The Cavs will obviously be a heavy favorite, but if we look at what the Celtics have done so far in the playoffs, there's no way you can count them out. There's no way you can say the Cavs will sweep them because they play their hearts out.
Totally. Do you think that should the Cavs win the Eastern Conference Finals, do they have a chance against either team in the West?
Yeah, because whenever you have LeBron on your team, you have a chance.
That's a very good answer.
I'm not trying to say last year was something that we should look towards, but I know it was a lopsided series, but Game 3, Cavs gave away. And if Cavs win that game,
I don't even
it
remember.
ends up being a 6 or 7 game series, probably. I would have to say.
Yeah.
But I think Warriors will end up winning in 5 again this year. I just don't. You look at the Cavs roster, and you don't want Jordan Clarkson. You're playing big minutes in the NBA Finals when Sean Livingston, JaVale McGee are coming off the bench for the. I don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. I've seen crazier things.
I mean, everyone wants to see the Warriors go down.
But I think if the Rockets make it, then LeBron will win another championship. I agree with that because I think LeBron will realize, look, this is my opportunity. I'm not playing the Warriors for like first time in forever. It feels like for him.
I think LeBron could definitely be the biggest stopper to the Rockets if they get to the finals.
The Rockets are a much deeper team, though. Much more well-rounded than the Cavs.
However, having LeBron, like you said, it's LeBron.
Yeah. And you know LeBron is playing every possible minute of that series, should they?
Of course.
Should it happen.
Of course.
All right. Is that it for LeBron? I'll go on to some more playoffs. What do you think of the Pelicans?
I respect them.
What do you think about Boogie's future?
Yeah.
So what's the deal with him? Is he not a free agent this season?
That's a great question, actually.
Regardless, I
Do
think
the Pelicans even want him? After Anthony
we
Davis
talked about the
was able to
MVP.
carry the team.
Can I get someone to scream out Anthony Davis?
Oh,
Yeah,
100%.
Look at what they
I
did.
agree.
Look at that. He goes out. They go on a run in the regular season.
How about that?
And then
As
he
soon as DeMarcus
takes them
gets
to the
hurt,
second
too.
round. And
And
you saw last night they were down by 26 and they were fighting.
Oh, my God.
That team fights.
It's funny because you know our friend Jake Meskin. He said this game's. Oh no, it was Evan, a friend of mine, Evan. He said I'll bet $1 million that the Warriors beat the Pelicans
That's such an Evan thing to
with
say.
like it was 8 minutes to go. You then had that run of 15-2. I was like,
And the Warriors were
you
going
might want to bring your $1 million back. They look
Right.
Their defense was outstanding in
Anthony
those
Davis
last.
is one of the best players. You know, Anthony Davis has the most, out of all active players, highest points per game in the playoffs. I know.
As he should.
We're not talking about playoffs.
As he should,
I
right?
feel bad
When
for
you
him
talk about
though.
MVP, it's not playoffs.
He deserves to win, and it's just you can't do that because AD plays hard enough to put his numbers up, and then he can play good defense on maybe Draymond or Durant, but that's the problem with the Warriors. They're so deep.
They're deep in.
They have 4 superstars. They are so good.
Mhm.
And
They're
good
so
bench
hard to
players,
beat.
too.
They are so hard to beat.
Yeah.
But there's one thing I know for sure is that the Rockets built a team to beat the Warriors. So I think this series is going to be unbelievable.
And it starts Monday.
It does start Monday.
Monday, and then Wednesday in Houston will be very exciting games. 100%. We
Yeah.
talked
You-
about.
Are you gonna go to any of them?
I watch these Rockets playoff games, and you guys have bad fan support. I have to say, I see too many empty seats.
Oh,
Come
yeah.
on,
You want to
you're
hear
a 1
hear a
seed. You won
crazy stat?
65 games.
Want to hear a crazy stat?
What?
You know who led the NBA in attendance this year?
Who?
The Chicago Bulls. And you know what's even crazier? The 9th straight year. And we sucked this year.
All right, well, I didn't
Best fans.
think I was
Thank
coming
you
here
very
to
much,
hear the
best fans
Chicago
in the NBA.
bias.
I was there for a game.
Thank you very much.
every day, but
We're getting a phone call. That's new.
Yeah. Haven't gotten that before.
Should we pick it up? I don't know. I'm kind of curious.
Not sure if it. Maybe another time.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Talk about fans. Fans definitely huge. Sport's always big for a home team.
No, 100%. Well, Phil, it was really nice having you on, especially talking about
Thank
the
you.
Cleveland Cavaliers.
Yeah, great
Um,
insight.
Definitely have you on next semester.
of course.
During free agency, all that stuff. Just
Love to come back and talk about the football team that should hopefully win 8 or more games next year.
Yeah.
oh, of course.
At least.
We'll have you on with Thomas, who was just here earlier, big college football fan, covers
Awesome.
them all the time. So, again, thank you for coming in. I
Thank you for
appreciate
having me.
it. Go Cavs for your sake. Go Rockets for my sake.
Go Cavs.
See what happens.
Nice.
I'll see you later. Enjoy.
Yeah.
Welcome back, Bazar Sports Radio, KVRX HD2. Will Bazarski, Zach Dolans. Enjoy. Phil was good.
Yeah, great to have him on.
Good Cleveland talk. Of course, we had Thomas Fitch earlier in the show. A lot of great stuff today to talk about. Last show of the year. And we're about to start hour 3.
Yeah, it doesn't even feel like it's been 2 hours.
It doesn't. I've enjoyed
It's been
talking.
flying by, me too.
I mean, this is
It's good.
Fun times,
Yeah.
fun times. A lot of great stuff today. We talked about football, basketball. Of course, we're talking about the NBA playoffs.
Even talked about movies.
Even talked about movies. We fit everything in.
It's been
and
a pack, it's been a
cookie
packed
dough
show.
at the fried cookie dough
Yeah.
at baseball games. Anything you can think of, we probably mentioned. Not anything, but
No, we still got an hour too. It'll
still
be
got an hour. All right, and we're gonna start off the hour with, of course, some interesting factoids from Zach's Facts.
All right, Zach's Facts once again. Start with interesting. We were just talking about the Eastern Conference playoffs, talking about the Sixers-Celtics series. We have an interesting fact here. In the last game, obviously 76ers won that. Now they're down 3-1. TJ McConnell for the Sixers had 19 points. And now for the regular season and playoffs, when TJ McConnell scores at least 15 points in a game, the 76ers are 8-0. Maybe TJ McConnell's their key.
They need him now. 3-1.
If
Down
he's
3-1.
scoring, they're winning. That's basically what we're saying here.
Yeah, exactly. All right, next one.
Oh, this is my favorite fact of the day. Will, you ready for this one? Chris Bryant today and the Cubs' huge win against the Marlins. We've now won 3 in a row against the Marlins. Chris Bryant hit a home run today, making it his 100th career home run. The cool part about this fact is that he hit his first career home run exactly 3 years ago today. So, he's been doing good. 33 home run average per year.
Wow.
I like that. I like that numbers. I like
And
those numbers a lot.
You have one more. We're gonna save that one for the end of the show. Actually,
Okay.
I feel like we should tie that one all together.
That's an interesting one.
How many more do I have? I have one more on this day in sports.
Mm-hmm.
I'll
Go for
save it. I'm gonna save it till the
Save
end.
it?
We'll
Okay,
do
we'll save both of them till the
two.
end.
We'll do one at each at the end to wrap up the show, which will be at 6 o'clock in
Yeah.
just an hour and 3 minutes.
Yeah.
We'll do that then.
All right, back to talking about previous shows then.
We'll talk about let's talk about
A
some
little bit of
previous
recaps.
shows. All right, we are on March 28th.
Yeah.
It was reported that the New York Giants were asking for at least 2 first-round draft picks for Odell Beckham Jr. The addition of Saquon Barkley. Are the Giants now set because they now have Odell still? Are they set for this upcoming season?
I wouldn't say they're set because there's still a big missing piece at the quarterback position, depending on what they do. Eli Manning, Geno Smith, we're going to see what happens there. I would not say that they're set yet. I say that there's no way they get rid of Odell Beckham at this point, however. I know they were asking if they were to trade him for 2 first-round draft picks. Obviously, that didn't happen. They still have Odell. They did not have those 2 extra first-round draft picks. So it'll be interesting to see how well Barkley does this year. I think he's going to be a very good addition to this team, but don't see them making the playoffs this year. I mean, it depends, though. Their defense could be good again. If Eli Manning decides to play like he has earlier in his career, anything could happen, but it'll be interesting.
It will be interesting. Yeah, like you said, it's all going to depend on their quarterback situation. Eli comes to play, and you have a good running back in Saquon Barkley.
Definitely.
Probably for 8-9 years or
At
so.
least.
That's what they're hoping for.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to help with their ground game. And then you have Odell, you have Evan Ingram, you get a good offensive line. Defense is up and running once again. Could be a team to look out for. Of course, the NFC East is such a
It is such a
great division
Right.
with good quarterbacks, defenses. I mean, just all together, you have the reigning Super Bowl champions. It's definitely a division to look out for.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a tight race.
Yep.
Cowboys, Redskins, Giants, and Eagles. See who comes out on top. I feel like we should predict it now. Who's going to come out on top? I have the Philadelphia Eagles.
I was going to say Eagles as well this year. I think this is definitely... Obviously, they played great last year. Now they have 2 of the greatest quarterbacks in the NFL with Carson Wentz and Nick Foles, right?
I guess Nick Foles is great.
Yeah.
I mean, Aaron Rodgers is still up there.
Yeah. I mean, if we're building a team around one of the guys...
That's
you know,
true. That's
definitely.
true. All right, we'll move on to April 4th, 2018. Giancarlo Stanton had just been booed after 5 strikeouts
In his
in
debut.
Yankee Stadium. That was his debut. He's batting .227, 7 homers, .313 on-base percentage. Zach, this is to you. Should Yankee fans be worried?
They should not. Giancarlo Stanton has had a great career. He usually hits a higher average than he is right now. He's a big home run guy. They are a very well-rounded team. They're tied with the Red Sox right now for the best record in the MLB. They are still a good team. Nothing to worry about. That was very early. It's still early in the season, and he's already showing signs of how he's been in the past. The 1-2 punch of him and Judge is still one of the deadliest duos in the MLB. So definitely should not be worried yet.
His on-base
Everything's
percentage
alright.
is .313,
Which
so
is solid.
it's solid
It's
on-base
solid.
percentage. compared to what his average is. So
Mhm.
that definitely helps out his
Right.
cause.
Yeah, they're walking him a lot.
Right. So, and the Fast Five fact of that day: Loyola Chicago had a 0.8% chance to make the Final Four.
And they did it.
They did it.
You know, a little bit of that has to be attributed to Virginia losing in the first round. They didn't have to face them.
Well, yeah, and they lost their sixth man earlier in the year, Virginia, or before the tournament. That was a big key to
Right.
why Virginia fell.
And why Loyola didn't even have to play them.
Right, and once again, Maryland. What was the team? I can't
Um,
remember.
Oh, yeah,
UMBC.
UMBC.
Got to give them a lot of credit.
Definitely. They were definitely, apparently all the fans, the players on the team, they always knew that if any 16 seed could do it, it was going to be them. They won their conference. They were a solid team during the regular season. No one had heard of them, but they were definitely a team to watch out for.
And their Twitter account is absolutely mind-boggling. It's hilarious. It is.
Yeah.
They go out at haters all the time because there's people who hate on them. Oh, we haven't heard of you. One game, big
Mhm.
deal. Well, they did it. Got to give them some credit.
Mhm. What was a bigger standout from the tournament, you think? You think it was them winning the first round or Sister Jean and everything that happened with Loyola?
Definitely Sister Jean.
I think she
'Cause-
became much bigger.
I'm not going to say a one-hit wonder in UMBC because it was truly remarkable what they did, and I'm not trying to minimize the credit that they deserve, but Loyola went to the Final Four, and the amount of things that transpired because of that. You have the shirts, you have just Sister Jean.
Mhm.
I didn't know who Sister Jean was
No one
before
knew.
this.
Boy,
tournament.
everyone knows her now.
I-
She threw out the first pitch at a Cubs game the other day.
Right. Right. So, I mean, it's just. I think
Yeah.
it was Sister Jean was probably the biggest mark of this tournament.
Yeah.
And the fact that Villanova outscores their opponents by 20 points, or double digits
In the finals.
in every single game of the tournament.
Yeah, they were unbelievable. Everyone thought Michigan, like, oh yeah, they won Big Ten, they're a good team, and then
They are a
Villanova
good
was
team.
like, and Villanova was like, yeah, I mean they're all right.
Right, exactly. And Michigan had a very good season.
yeah, they did.
And
Give credit to them for that.
I mean, they got to the finals. There's only two teams that
They
get
had
there.
that one freshman who played unbelievable during the tournament.
Right. I mean, they had good guys. They had a very remarkable season. They have to be proud of what they did.
Yeah.
There's only two teams left, like the Super Bowl, two teams
Yeah.
left. I mean,
Yeah.
but in this case, it's out of what I think 200 something teams. If you're top two, it's pretty darn good.
Mm.
Villanova, God, I mean, shooting threes like crazy.
They're so good. They're gonna lose a couple guys to the draft this year though. But they're usually very consistent. I mean, this is their second one in the past 3 years.
Right. They're not surprising that they won.
Mm.
They won 2 years ago. They still have a lot of players from that team.
Yeah, Jalen Brunson led the team from Chicago, homegrown guy. I love it.
Homegrown. Love it. All right. Now we're going to move on to April 11th, 2018.
Mm-hmm.
This was...
NHL playoffs.
Yeah,
getting
NHL playoffs.
underway.
Started. Matt picked the Nashville Predators, who are playing Game 7 tonight. I picked the Boston Bruins, who are now out of the playoffs. Not a bad pick,
Aw.
but, it
It's
happens.
alright. Penguins are out of it too now.
And Zach, of course, picked the Winnipeg Jets. Why did you pick the Winnipeg Jets?
I just felt like they were the most well-rounded team in hockey. I feel like there are teams that are very good offensively and there are teams that are good defensively. But you looked at the Winnipeg Jets, and they were just a solid, well-rounded team, had a top 5 offense and defense during the regular season. That's why I went with them.
And it's either going to be you or Matt that advances tonight. You have the Nashville Predators taking on the Winnipeg Jets in Game 3. Or Game 7, I'm sorry.
Right.
Tied 3-3. See what happens.
I mean, I'm going with my Jets.
Still going with your Jets.
Still
I
going
like
with
it.
my Jets.
A couple friends are going with the Predators, but
Yeah, it'll be a good game.
it'll definitely be a fun game to watch. Definitely look out for that game. That's on NBC Sportsnet. I'm pretty sure it's 7. I might take a couple minutes to
To
watch
check
that.
that out.
I got a final tomorrow, but
But Game 7 NHL playoffs.
Game 7, a cumulative final.
Yeah,
I'm studying.
You have
for
your
it.
priorities.
I have my priorities straight.
Yes, definitely. I agree.
I think
I
so.
agree. No, I'm with you. I'm a good influence.
You are a very good influence. That's why I was allowed to come visit Chicago. Cause, all right, and we did mention movies, but name your. I mean, I just love talking about movies. Might as well.
Always.
All right, favorite non-baseball, football. I don't even know. Is there like not a main 3 sports movie that you know of? Kicking and Screaming.
Oh, no, actually, Kicking and Screaming, sure, soccer.
Right.
Soccer.
So we didn't talk about that.
There have been good soccer movies.
Oh, but yeah.
I'm sure. But now that you mention it, actually, I think my favorite baseball is my favorite sports movies to watch. But I think next to baseball, something we haven't mentioned yet, my favorite sport to have a movie of is boxing.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
How do we not even think about boxing? You look at the Rocky movies.
Creed was a...
That's part of the Rockies, right?
Right, I mean...
Well, there was one that I just watched, too. I mean, Southpaw was good. I just watched A Million Dollar Baby, one of the greatest movies I've ever seen.
What other... I'm trying to think what other... There's so many good sports
Even
movies.
the movie Warrior, it's MMA, one of my favorite movies of all time.
Right.
That's a sports
Right.
movie. I think we don't really think about fighting as much when we talk about like these main sports movies, but I think boxing, MMA, I think those are some of the greatest movies ever.
Well, yeah, of course, Rocky.
Mm-hmm.
That was...
Million Dollar Baby, one movie of the year when that came out. Morgan Freeman, Clint Eastwood, Hilary Swank, great movie.
More into the action movies.
Yeah.
Like Mission
Avengers.
Impossible. No, you're more into the Avengers.
I'm more into like I love sports movies too.
Tell everyone what you did after you saw the movie, Infinity War.
Infinity War.
Yeah, what did you do after? Like, what did you research?
What did I research?
I don't know. You said you looked at alternate endings too.
Oh well, I mean I don't know. I just like looking I like the different theories about like what happened. I don't want to ruin anything for people listening.
Oh, true.
I don't want to talk about it too much.
That makes sense.
It was just a very good movie.
All right. Worst sports movie you've seen?
I don't know. I usually like sports movies. I can't really think of like a bad experience with a sports movie.
Yeah.
What about you?
No.
Nothing really stands out. Like the good ones stand out.
Yeah, that's true. The good ones do stand out. The bad ones you just say goodbye.
Yeah, but can't believe we didn't think about the boxing movies earlier. Those are the best.
Those are you're
really good movies.
good movies.
There's a movie called Digstown. It's an older one, but that's a really good boxing movie too. I recommend it.
Yeah, no, definitely some good sports movies. And so let's move on. What's our next show?
Well, we're still on the same show that we were talking about the NHL playoffs. We talked about a mock draft for the NFL draft that had yet to come. And in that mock draft, we saw Josh Allen at the #1 pick for Cleveland. So we were right about one thing. They were going to draft a quarterback. What we weren't right about is that it was going to be Baker Mayfield.
Well, we did actually talk about the day of the draft that there was news coming out of day before.
No, you're right. We did talk about it.
Baker Mayfield was going to be the #1 pick. And then I think it was the following week we discussed that we overlooked Baker Mayfield. We didn't look at the fact that he wins. His teams rally behind him where he plays. I mean, he learned under multiple systems and he's excelled under both. So he's a guy definitely to look out for. Definitely not a terrible. I don't think it was a bad pick. It could have gone either way, and I think they found their guy, and that's who they wanted. But Cleveland had Josh Allen. We thought Josh Allen they were going to pick him because he looks like Carson Wentz and same type of situation, low profile school and whatnot.
Then in the actual draft, so since we had Josh Allen go at their #1 pick, he ended up getting drafted by the Buffalo Bills. And was he the one that said that the team would regret, like every team above him would have regretted, or was that
Josh Rosen?
That was Josh Rosen.
Yeah.
But so Josh Rosen, drafted by the Cardinals, said that the other 9 teams, there were 9 mistakes before him.
Yeah.
That's a bold move to say right when you're drafted.
That is a bold.
That's
coming out of what was
that's
that?
a lot of
It's
confidence.
like draft day where the guy, I don't remember who it was. Something Drew, the quarterback of the Browns at the time.
I know.
He sent the letter back and said, "Save this money for when I win you a Super Bowl" or something, something like that. And going back to the sports movies, you know what we also missed? Dodgeball. Does that count as a sports movie?
I mean, I
guess. It was on ESPN.
Classic.
It was on ESPN.
Mm-hmm.
The Ocho, I don't know, that doesn't exist, but
Anchorman.
you have Coach Carter, Waterboy. Oh,
Waterboy's a good one too. These are more comedies.
Blindside, Cool Runnings. I don't know if you've seen that.
I've seen Cool Runnings. Yeah.
We Are Marshall.
We Are Marshall's a good one.
Major League, Caddyshack. I haven't seen Slapshot.
Me neither.
Have not seen Slapshot.
Oh, speaking of hockey movies, Goon. Have you seen Goon?
Goon, I have seen. That's a good one.
Yeah, there's just so many sports.
So many sports movies. All right, we'll move away from sports movies. We've talked a lot about that. All right. Surprised by any of the draft picks?
Yeah, I wouldn't really say so. I would say that I was kind of surprised by Baker Mayfield. I wouldn't say I was as surprised because we knew, like you said, a couple days before that they announced they would draft him, which at that point surprised me, but we'll see. I mean, he could be very good. I don't know why Cleveland would want a quarterback after signing Tyrod Taylor. I've said it in past weeks that would be a Bears move after signing Mike Glennon and then drafting Mitchell Trubisky.
It seems to work out.
The drafting Mitchell Trubisky worked out, but it was a huge waste of money to sign Mike Glennon. So I figure if you're a team, why sign a guy that you think is going to be your future and then end up drafting a guy anyways? I think that's, one, disrespectful to the guy that you signed, and two, it's a waste of money.
Oh, 100%. That is true.
Yeah.
All right. April 18th. I got nothing. Sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. That was a bad week anyways.
Bad week. I think I had a test that week.
Yeah, that might have been it.
That might have been it.
Yeah.
Rough day.
Never know.
Tired, probably. Too much studying the night
Just
before.
definitely uneventful.
Definitely uneventful. Maybe we went to Schlotzsky or Potbelly after, maybe. I don't know. That's our usual spot.
This is a good.
We'll sign autographs there, maybe.
Yeah.
A little autograph session going.
Yeah, just call in if you want an autograph.
Exactly. All right, we'll move on to April 25th. Is Lamar Jackson a first-round pick?
Well, we said that we didn't think he would be.
Actually, I did.
You thought he would be?
I thought the Patriots were going to trade up to get him, or even trade back, possibly to take him, just as a guy to learn behind Tom Brady.
Sure.
Because I don't know how many years Tom has left.
Right.
It's hard to say. He might have 2. He might have 1. He could have 4. Nobody really knows. I think he at least has 1 because he's definitely playing,
He's playing
this
this
year.
next year.
Right. So we'll see what happens there. I just thought that would be a guy.
I think that would have been a good move by the Patriots. I agree because that's like they did with Jimmy Garoppolo, and he was so good when he came in after playing behind Tom Brady. Like, I think they definitely need a guy like that. And I think they should draft a guy. They should get a quarterback, a young guy, before it's too late. Because you want a guy to learn from Tom Brady. You don't want a guy. You want to pick up a guy after Tom Brady already leaves.
Right. That's always a problem.
Right, like it's like you should take advantage when you have a guy like Tom Brady that is able to mentor whatever guy comes next. That's something that you should take advantage of, and you want to get a guy now to start learning under him because no one can teach that. Like you can't teach that experience that Tom Brady has.
You really can't. I mean, you look at the guys who you want to learn behind Tom Brady. You have Peyton Manning, guys learn behind him. You have Aaron Rodgers. You want to learn behind him for sure. Who else? I mean, Joe Flacco. They have Teddy Bridgewater will be learning behind. I'm sorry, Lamar Jackson will be learning behind him.
Right, because he was drafted at the end of the first round, last pick by the Ravens.
So I don't know if Flacco's the greatest guy to learn behind, but definitely a veteran.
Hey, Flacco's a Super Bowl winning quarterback.
That's true.
So.
I mean, he's not the greatest quarterback.
And they did have one of the best defenses ever when they did win that Super Bowl.
That does help. And I don't know if you remember when Peyton Manning hosted the ESPYs, he said, I won the Super Bowl with the Broncos D carrying me.
Oh, 100%.
And that's 100%. He recognized what it is. I think it's the same situation.
He was not good that year. He just wasn't.
Same situation with Joe Flacco.
Defense wins championships, honestly.
Defense and Michael Dixon wins special teams championships.
He was the first punter taken off the board in the NFL draft this year.
He was, and apparently he had an 80-yard punt in rookie mini-camp this year.
Whoa.
They don't know what they're seeing yet. We did. We know exactly what we're seeing.
Oh, yeah, he's the best. He's going to be day one starter for who's
Hall of Fame?
I mean, he could be one of the greatest punters to ever play.
Depends how many years he plays, I guess.
Yeah.
1 year won't cut it. You have Shane Leckler, who I think will be a Hall of Famer punter. He's been playing, I think, 18 or 19 years.
It takes a lot of time.
It takes a lot of time to be top notch.
I mean, I think that the best story, if we're talking about the NFL draft, I think the best story should Shaquem Griffin, the one-handed linebacker who ended up getting drafted by Seattle Seahawks and reunited with his twin brother who was drafted earlier in the draft by the Seahawks.
You think he went too late?
I think I don't know. You look at how he performed in the combine and how he even played in college. He You give him that extra. You give him a second hand. I think he's a first round draft pick. And
Top 5 pick.
he's unbelievable. He really is one of the greatest athletes.
People argue that he didn't have competition, but the numbers he was putting up are, I don't know, you can't just put that on a
You
player.
can't argue with it.
Right.
It'll be interesting to see how he performs in the NFL with one hand, but he is, like we said, a great athlete, and it'll be fun to watch him play.
Especially with his brother also on the same team. You got the Griffins in the backfield.
Yeah.
Did Michael Griffin? No, Michael Griffin played for Tennessee.
I'm not sure.
Something of that sort.
Michael Bennett played for the Seahawks.
Michael Bennett, that's who I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. I was going to say 3 Griffins.
Who also has a brother in the NFL. Actually, not anymore. It's Martellus Bennett.
Right. He played for the Patriots, played for the Bears.
Played for the Packers. He played for the Bears, and he went Bears, Patriots, Packers. Back to the Patriots. No, I think he's done.
Now he's retired.
Yeah.
So, what was it? Bears, Patriots,
And he was amazing for the
Packers,
Back to the Patriots, I think.
Patriots, retired.
I believe so.
Not a bad career. Made a couple mil.
Yeah, he was very good.
He was a good
I like
tight end.
watching him play.
All right, and then we talked about, Fast 5 fact was Donovan Mitchell has become only the second rookie to ever score 100 points in his first 4 playoff games. Just to go back, we're talking about our show from April 25th. Excuse me. The only other person to do this, I'll let Zach take this one.
Yeah, that was the GOAT. That was Michael Jordan. He was the only other player to have 100 points in his first 4 playoff games. Not even LeBron did that. I wish Phil was still here so I could tell him that.
Oh, we should have jumped. We should have jumped to that first.
Yeah, honestly.
Whoops.
So this brings back up the debate of Mitchell versus Simmons, it's always tough.
It is always tough. Simmons has a better team around him. Mitchell
I don't even know about that. I think the Jazz were a very good team this year. If we look back from
in
the
the
previous
playoffs,
show,
though.
I said that the Jazz. I was wrong. I said that the Jazz were going to go to the finals out of the West. It was tough looking back on it. They had the Rockets to face. They had the Warriors in the West. But I didn't even have the 76ers in the finals. I think that the Jazz were a very good team this year. Rudy Gobert is one of the greatest centers in the NBA. Joe Ingles played out of his mind in the playoffs. I think they're a very good team. So I think even next year, Donovan Mitchell has a year of experience under his belt. He's played in 2 playoff series now. That's so valuable.
I like Donovan Mitchell more because of. No, I'm not saying the Jazz don't have players around him. That's not my point about it. I think Simmons has a good core around him, unlike.
I mean,
Donovan
would you rather have Rudy Gobert or Joel Embiid?
I mean, Joel Embiid probably.
Okay. I'd rather have Rudy. Rudy Gobert is a better defensive player in my opinion. He's bigger. He's longer.
I just like Joel Embiid.
I know you do. I honestly think that the Jazz have a better core.
You do?
I do.
I think the opposite, but.
Right, I know. I mean, who else is Philadelphia? Sure, they have some good shooters. They got J.J. Redick. They got
Right, that
Michael
also
Porter.
helped. I'm saying like that entire
But
aspect.
Joe Ingles was a great shooter. Excuse me. Jay Crowder shot very well in the playoffs.
I think 76ers, like Phil said on paper, are probably better than the Utah Jazz. The fact that Donovan Mitchell, what he did against Houston,
Okay.
having, 22 points in the
Right,
third
in the
quarter,
third quarter.
that's a rookie sensation who...
Right. And this is not to mention, Ricky Rubio didn't even play in this past series.
Exactly.
He was one of their best players in the West. I think that the Jazz were a much better team than the 76ers. I think the Jazz... I mean, they're going to be so good next year. I'm a big
There's going to be a
Jazz
lot
fan.
of good teams next year. A lot of good teams to look
Yeah,
out for.
which is amazing because in the past you've seen the big powerhouses. You've seen the Warriors. You've seen the Cavs. There hasn't been that much competition. You've seen a little competition between the lower teams.
It's more of
But
the
now you're
bigger
seeing
market
a
teams.
lot more challenges. You're not seeing as big of a drop-off anymore. Like,
Right.
you look at the Western Conference, between the 8 seed and the 4 seed was like a 2-game difference in the playoffs.
And we're talking about big market. Like, the big market teams seem to run everything. Now it's the
No, it's
medium.
not anymore. Yeah.
You have Utah. You have... San Antonio continues to run.
I mean, Portland, even
Portland.
New Orleans.
Would you consider Philly a big market team?
Yeah, I mean,
I guess if you differentiate Chicago as one, or like Chicago, L.A., Boston, you can even say Miami as like the 4 powerhouses, as like, and New York. Well, New York.
and New York's not even good.
Right.
But they're definitely a big market.
Right, and that's what I would consider the big market, medium-sized market, considering like Houston.
Even LA's a big market, and both teams in LA are.
Houston, I guess you'd say
probably
is
the
a
two worst
big
teams.
market because of the city, like and what you have.
Sure, it is. a big
But
market.
like Phil was saying with the fan loyalty and like how there's just not a lot of fans there
Sure.
sometimes. Talking more about that, like you see more fan loyalty in smaller market teams. It seems like.
But then you look at Chicago has the best fan
Right.
market in the NBA, and that's a big market.
Right, that's true.
Yeah. I don't like talking about the big versus small markets. I don't think that matters as much anymore. Like
No,
today's NBA.
not anymore.
And like I just said, LA, both their teams in LA were bottom of the Western Conference this year.
Right.
So,
Exactly. All right, and of course, show last week. Were you here for that one?
I don't believe so.
You were not here. Okay. May 2nd, actually, 2018. Is Sam Bradford the starter or is Josh Rosen?
I think it's going to be Sam Bradford to start off the season. I don't know. That's tough. They're not a very good team right now, so maybe they'll give it to Rosen just because why not? Like they're not. I don't think the Cardinals are going to make the playoffs this year, so maybe they're just going to give it to him. Like say all right, try it out.
I think Bradford will be the starter for at least week 1.
Yeah.
It will be the case with a lot of these teams. I think same situation in Cleveland. You'll see Tyrod start. You paid him money. Why not start him? Sure,
Right,
Baker.
and it happened last year. Mike Glennon started for the Bears.
Right. You're gonna same thing. Deshaun Watson didn't start out first, so I think it's gonna be the same situation. Also,
But then again,
it alleviates the pressure.
Yeah, and Sam Bradford wasn't even on Arizona last year though, so it's not like they have any like previous commitment. To
Right,
him.
of course. But the fact that they have him now.
Yeah, and he proved himself last year as a good starter.
They also didn't realize that they were going to be able to get Josh Rosen.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they're going to try to trade up to get him, but
yeah.
the fact that he was available for
I
that,
didn't think he'd drop that far.
I did not either. But when you look at the teams that were drafting after, that weren't really looking for him as their quarterback, it did make sense.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I agree with that.
All right, and then our final thought from last week. Will Sam Darnold start week 1, or will it be McCown or Teddy Bridgewater?
See, now that's a really tough one because all three of these quarterbacks, I think, can be worthy of starting in the NFL. Josh McCown had a good year last year for the Jets. I think that he deserves it. I think the Jets should give it to him because of what he's done for their team. He played well last year, had a couple good games. Teddy Bridgewater he played like one snap all of last season because of injury. You're definitely not starting him right away. I don't know if he's going to get any minutes at all this season. I feel like he's their third string right now. And Sam Darnold, like you said earlier today, was praised by GM, CEO, whatever,
Right.
for being the future of this team.
Future meaning,
Meaning they're not going to start him right now.
I think that was a big consideration and identifier of who's going to be the next guy.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to see him. I'm not going to say pull Cleveland, but when you start him right away and then they just go out into the sunset without
Right.
even saying a word.
Right, and they have other options with Bridgewater and McConnell, so I don't think there's any reason to start Darnold right away.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's going to be like that. I could definitely see Darnold getting playing time this year, but
Me too.
it'll take some time.
And I don't think the Jets are making the playoffs this year, which means there's definitely no hurry to get Darnold in the lineup because they still got rebuilding to do. They still got to learn with their new team and everything, so there's still a lot of that.
Can you believe it? We just went through every single show except for today's show.
That's actually crazy. And we still have 35 minutes left. And we, too, still have an interesting factoid to Zach's fact. And we have another on this day.
So,
And plenty of other sports news.
and before we do that, you know what? We'll take a little break just so we can soak it all in. We mentioned every single show we've talked about this semester.
Yeah.
We should have done this last
It's
semester.
been very reminiscent.
Very reminiscent. Yeah, of course. So we're gonna take about a 2 to 3 minute break here. Come back with about 33 minutes left in this final show. So stick around, Bazar Sports Radio. It's Will Bazarski, Zach Dolans. You're listening to KVRX HD2, and we'll be right back. Welcome back, Bazar Sports Radio, KVRX HD2. This is it. It's the home stretch.
Final stretch.
We got 30 minutes left here on this
Our
show.
3-hour extravaganza.
That's what we can call it.
Yeah, we're going to call it that.
And we're going to go back to... once again, you're listening to Bazar Sports Radio. I forgot to mention Will Bazarski. And, of course, Chicago native, business freshman, Zachary Dolans.
That's me.
Zach Dolans or Zachary?
I mean,
Same thing.
my real name is Zachary.
Okay, we'll call you Zach.
Yeah.
I'm Will, by the way.
Nice to meet you.
First time.
Yeah.
First time encounter. Exactly. All right. Let's go back to the MLB for a bit. Who's gonna win the AL Central?
Yeah, so this is going to be fun. I love talking about predictions for all the different divisions. Right now, if you look at the AL Central, the Indians are at the top, 1 game ahead of the Minnesota Twins. This is an interesting division because, in my opinion, this is the worst division in baseball. I don't think there's any team. The Cleveland Indians, they've been very good in recent years. Obviously, we're in the World Series 2 years ago against the Cubs. They've been solid ever since. Francisco Lindor, great player. Jason Kipnis from Northbrook, Illinois. Love him.
I wonder why.
But it's not a very good division. White Sox are in it. The Royals are in it. Even the Tigers. The Tigers, in my opinion, were at the beginning of the season were like the worst team in baseball. And like they're in 3rd place right now in this division. So it's going to be between the Indians and the Twins. Twins were the wild card last year. Molitor won Coach of the Year. It could go either way. I think in this division, my predictions is going to end up being the Indians, but maybe see the Twins in the wild card again. It'll be interesting. I don't think either team really stands out as a great team though.
What about the AL? Actually, before we go to the move on to the AL West, we'll go to the NL Central, same type of area.
Yeah, the best division. You just went from the worst division to the best division.
Exactly. NL Central. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, so we got, out of the top 4 teams, we got the Reds at the bottom. No competition at all. Don't worry about the Reds. But you got the Cardinals, Brewers, Pirates, and of course you have the Chicago Cubs. I think that both wildcard teams could easily come out of the NL Central, whether it be Cardinals, Brewers, or Pirates, because I still think the Cubs are going to win the division. And although we're 4th in the division, only 1.5 out of 1st for the Cardinals. And the only reason we're so far behind the Cardinals right now is because we just got swept by the Cardinals. Very sad. But we did just sweep the Marlins, looking very bad right now. So this is going to be an interesting division. I think Cubs are going to come out on top, as we have for the past 2 years. And I don't know. I think that the rest of the next 3 teams are good. I don't think the Pirates are that good, but they've been playing well this year.
They've been holding their ground.
I don't think they've had a very tough schedule, honestly. Yeah. But I think that the Cardinals and Brewers definitely have a chance, both at making the wild card.
All right. Before we go to the AL East, even though we talked about that earlier in the show, we'll still mention that. We're going to go to the National League East for a second. Remember at the beginning of the season when we said the Marlins were going to be the worst team in baseball?
Yep.
The worst team in baseball? Baltimore Orioles. They
Right.
won 8 games. Marlins are holding their ground. 13 games.
Mm-hmm.
Not bad for what they have.
It's still early, too. I mean, like I just told you, we just demolished the Marlins in this series. We scored double-digit runs on them twice in the past 3 games.
They're 5-5 in their last 10 games.
Yeah, well, 3 of them were against the Cubs. So
exactly.
3 of those losses. Yeah, I mean, I still don't think they're very good. They're rebuilding, like we've talked about before. I don't know. They got some good young talent on their team, so we'll see. Probably in the next couple of years, they might be a little bit better. New ownership with Derek Jeter. Got rid of everyone in the offseason, even the mascot.
Oh, that was the worst story of them all.
Yeah.
Billy the Marlin.
I mean, you're right, though. They're not the worst team in baseball right now, so we'll see if they could pull out a little run or something.
All right. Since we're on the National League, we'll just continue with the National League. We'll go back to the American League.
Sure.
The National League West, Diamondbacks, Rockies, Giants, Dodgers, and the Padres. Who comes out on top?
Right. This has been a very interesting division so far this year because the Dodgers are currently 5 games below 500. We're in the World Series last year. They are a very, very good team. They just lost Corey Seager for the season, in my opinion, their best player. Probably a bigger loss than Clayton Kershaw because Corey Seager is an everyday player. You need a guy like that in your lineup every day. You lose Clayton Kershaw, you still have 4 other good starting pitchers on this team. But that's a huge loss for the Dodgers. I would like to still say they're going to make the playoffs because they're still a very good team, but you never know. They didn't have Justin Turner for.
They're struggling at home. They're 7-9 at home. They're really struggling, which is
they are struggling,
usually their strong suit.
Mm-hmm.
It is usually their strong suit.
So it's a weird division. The Diamondbacks are looking absolutely amazing this year too. Even after losing J.D. Martinez, like we talked about earlier today, the Diamondbacks I don't think have lost a series all season. They've just been absolutely unbelievable. One of the best teams in baseball. I think that they're going to make the playoffs, whether it be winning this division or if not a wild card. So Diamondbacks are good. I don't really see any other threats in this division. The Rockies are decent. They have Wade Davis as their closer, coming from the Cubs last year. I think he's very good, and Nolan Arenado is going to be an MVP candidate this year for sure. But I don't think the Rockies are going to make the playoffs. It's a tough race for the wild card between whether you say Cardinals, Brewers, Rockies, Dodgers. It's going to be interesting between there.
All right, now let's move to the American League East. Yankees, Red Sox, Blue Jays, Rays, and of course we mentioned the last place Baltimore Orioles.
Mhm. Well, I can promise you one thing for sure. The wild card in the American League will either be the Yankees or the Red Sox, whichever one doesn't win their division. They're the two best teams in the MLB right now, both playing absolutely amazing. I think that the Yankees should be able to pull out this division. Many believe that they're going to win this World Series this year. They're a very well-rounded team, have hitters, have home run hitters, have an amazing bullpen. So they're a very good team. Red Sox also playing very well, also a very good starting rotation for pitching. So I don't think there's any other team that really threatens them in this division. Blue Jays, Rays, Orioles, all very below average teams in my opinion.
All right, and then the final one, AL West, Astros, Angels, Mariners,
Yeah, what do you think about this
A's,
one?
Rangers. I'll talk about this one. This is my division
This
right
is your
here.
division.
Well, Angels have the pitching, definitely, and they do have the hitting. You got Shohei Ohtani, you got Mike Trout,
Albert
Albert Pujols just reached 3,000 hits. They have a good team around them. However, they're struggling at home, 8-10. Astros are also struggling at home. They're 10-9 on the road. Both teams are very good on the road. The Astros are 14-6, and the Angels are 14-4 away. They keep doing what they're doing on the road and keep producing. The biggest key factor is who can win at home, which is strange because teams are typically better on the road. But if you look at the AL Central, all the teams are also struggling on the at home. The Royals are 6-13. The White Sox are 3-15. The Indians have the only winning record on the at home, and that's 11-8 in the AL Central.
Yeah, that's actually pretty consistent across the entire MLB this year, is that teams are winning on the road way more often than you'd imagine.
So this home record, which is very strange. I mean, you just mentioned it. It's so odd to see that because typically it's home field advantage.
Mm-hmm.
Teams that are winning on the road.
Mm-hmm.
We need to win at home. That
Yeah.
should be our key factor.
Yeah.
Now, I do think the Astros are going to come out on top. They got to find their relievers, though. That's their biggest struggle right now. If they can do that, then they'll be set.
Mhm.
However, if they don't, the Angels or even the Mariners could sneak up right behind them.
And even if they don't, the Astros still could have the best starting rotation in baseball.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
They're
yeah.
unbelievable.
Garrett Cole.
Between Garrett Cole, Justin Verlander, Dallas Keuchel.
How many strikeouts did Garrett Cole the other night? 16 or something?
That's unbelievable.
Jeez.
That's crazy. That could have been one of the greatest signings of the offseason for any team, getting him from Pittsburgh.
JD Martinez, I mean, we could also argue
JD
that
Martinez
one
is big.
because everyday player, but you're right. Pitching-wise, because, I don't know, we can't really debate.
I mean, Wade Davis going to the Rockies, maybe. Cubs
Shohei
got Brandon
Ohtani,
Morrow.
maybe.
Shohei Ohtani was big. There's just some pitching changes.
There's some good signings over the offseason that changed entire organizations.
Mhm.
So, I think Astros are definitely a team to look out for. It's going to be interesting to see by postseason time who's in play because there's going to be a lot of teams up for grabs.
Right, and talking about big signings in the offseason for pitchers, the Cubs signed Yu Darvish, who everyone thought was going to be like one of the biggest signings in baseball. Strikeout king. He's so good. He didn't play very well in the World Series last year, but even in the playoffs, he performed well. Great for the Dodgers all season. He was just placed on the DL by the Cubs, 10-day DL. Not having a great season at all so far. Really our only weak point in our starting lineup. So hopefully he'll come back. He'll be a little better, but not living up to my expectations.
Who are your World Series predictions?
I mean, I'm biased, but I'm going to say Cubs. If I were to say anyone but the Cubs from the National League, right now I'm saying Diamondbacks. Diamondbacks are looking unbelievable. They won the wild card last year. They were rebuilding, and they're looking great right now. So I'd say Diamondbacks, if not the Cubs. From American League, it's really hard not to say the Yankees. Even the Astros aren't. The Astros are looking really good right now, but I don't think they could beat the Yankees or the Red Sox.
The AL champion will come out of either the Yankees, Red Sox, or the Astros.
Right, I agree, and I think that it's going to be the Yankees or the Red Sox. It's tough. I mean, we talked about the Astros having one of the greatest starting rotations, but you look at the hitting between the Yankees and Red Sox, that's two of the greatest hitting teams in baseball.
Right.
Not to mention, they also have very good pitching. So it's tough. Not saying, I mean, the Astros have good hitting too.
I'm not going to be biased in this, but the Yankees and Red Sox are definitely the two best teams in baseball right now. If you look at it, Diamondbacks you can also put up there.
Right now.
But the Yankee-Red Sox rivalry will be big this year. Whoever can take those will definitely be the ones who to pull out.
Whichever
and
one
take
wins the division. I think it's
Right.
whichever one wins the division.
Right. Well, I figured we'd change it up a bit. Sports trivia.
Okay. This is interesting.
Sports. I mean, why not?
Yeah, sure.
All right.
Let's see what I know.
First one for you. Who is the only athlete ever to play in a Super Bowl and a World Series?
I mean, Bo Jackson's the only one that makes sense.
You got one more guess.
I don't know who else played.
Deion Sanders.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Deion Sanders. Wow. He's an analyst for CBS Sports and NFL Network now.
Yeah, no, he's legendary.
All right. Where did the sport of curling originate? I didn't know this.
Somewhere in Europe.
Scotland, so I mean,
Yeah, I was right about that.
Wow. All right. What year did Tiger Woods become a professional golfer?
Ooh, like 1995 or 6.
96. Wow.
That's impressive.
All right.
I don't know how I got that.
I don't know how you got this, but here we go. This is the last one for you, and I'll let you pick a couple for me. Which team did the Chicago Cubs play in the 1945 World Series?
Oh my God, this is something that I should know. This is the last time we were in the World Series before 2 years ago. Oh my God.
You get one hint, and it's an animal.
It's an animal. Most teams are animals.
Exactly. That's a terrible hint. I'm
Wow, I
sorry.
can't believe that I don't know that. I can tell you they played in the 1907 to 1908 World Series.
And that was who?
Chicago White Sox. Both times. But I don't remember who we played in 1945. You're going to have to tell me.
Detroit Tigers.
I'm ashamed to all Cubs fans. I'm sorry.
Did you know that?
I don't know if I knew that.
I didn't either. All right. I'll let you pick a couple from here and see if I know anything. You can change it up a bit.
All right, let's see here. Oh, that's an easy one. I don't want to give you one that's too easy. Let's see. In what year were the first modern Olympics held?
I think it was
It was a long time ago.
1896 or something.
How did you know that?
Was it actually?
It's exactly what year it was.
I knew it was in the late 1800s.
That's unbelievable.
I just for those of you on record, I did not look at all. I think I do that one.
That's really impressive. Brazil was eliminated in the 2014 World Cup by what team?
Ooh,
I believe.
Argentina.
Nope. I think this team ended up losing in the finals too.
Portugal. Who did they lose to?
Mm-hmm. That's the question.
I know that was the question. You asked me the question.
That's two. I'm sorry for the two soccer questions in a row.
No, but who is it? I don't know.
It was Germany.
Oh wow, I should have known that one.
Mm-hmm.
They got blown out, didn't they? I don't remember the score.
I think Germany won like 4-1 or something.
Right.
Let's see. Mason Plumlee and Kyle Singler played for what school during the 2009-2010 season? I think I knew this one.
This basketball? Or?
Yeah, basketball. Mason Plumlee and Kyle Singler played for what school? They're both very good too, in college.
Is it one of the big programs like Kentucky?
It is one of the big programs, and Mason Plumlee's little brother actually plays here right now.
Kentucky.
Nope.
Kansas.
Nope.
Duke.
Yes.
I had one of three. That was not bad. Take
Yeah.
it. All right, give me one more, and then I'll go one more for you. Actually, I like this. Let's continue going with this. Who do we have?
This is a fun one. What Miami Heat player retired 2 days after Obama took office and is now Obama's golfing buddy? He retired 2 days after Obama took office and now is a good buddy for Obama.
2008.
And they golf together.
2008 Miami Heat.
Yeah. He was actually really good too.
Shaq.
He was really good. He played like all of his career on the Heat. He was really good like in the early 2000s. Big guy.
Shaq?
No.
Shaq played for no.
He played for the Heat like 1 or 2 years.
I don't know.
It was Alonzo Mourning.
There's no way I was gonna get that. I'm sorry.
It's okay. That was listed as easy too, by the way.
No way. Here, my turn now.
All right.
We'll switch it up a bit. All right. All right. Muhammad Ali retired from boxing in 1981. What was his career record? This one's listed as easy.
His career record, Muhammad Ali, something in I don't know.
55-5.
That's impressive.
I didn't know he lost 5.
Me neither.
What Red Sox player has the most career hits?
Ooh, a Red Sox player with the most career.
It was
hits.
3,419 by who?
Is it David Ortiz?
Carl Yastrzemski.
Oh yeah, Yastrzemski.
All right. After retiring as a player, with which team did baseball great Babe Ruth spend 1 year as a coach?
Who did he coach?
It's on the East Coast.
Well, he played for Boston and New York.
Right.
Did he coach one of them?
He did not coach either of them. But in that vicinity.
It could be a lot of teams, honestly. I don't know.
Brooklyn Dodgers.
Brooklyn Dodgers. Okay.
All
I
right.
guess that makes sense.
What basketball move was banned from 1967
Dunking.
to
Yeah.
1976?
Yeah, dunking.
Well, I would not have fit well in that.
Do you know why they banned dunking?
It was
Because of one guy.
hold on. Not Abdul Jabbar.
It was Abdul Jabbar.
It was Abdul Jabbar.
He was too good at dunking, so they banned it.
Well, they're glad I don't play because that's why they would have ended it now.
Totally.
All right, this is my last one, and if you want to do a couple more, we can. Which is the only country to have played in every World Cup?
There's a country that's played in every World Cup. Argentina, Brazil. Which one?
Which one?
Argentina.
Brazil.
Dang.
You had it 50-50.
Are we doing more sports trivia?
You want to? I mean, it's kind of fun.
Okay.
We can do a couple more, and then we'll move on to some other
We
news.
still got a factoid and a...
Right, we still got some time.
And some random sports news. Let's see here.
We'll do three more. Three more to wrap it up, and then we'll...
In what year were... I'm sorry, this is another Olympics one. What year were women first allowed to participate in the modern Olympics? Because you got the other Olympic question right, so you have to know this one.
So, 1936 was
So
in
18
Berlin.
remember 1896 was the first Olympics.
Right. I'm going to go like 1952.
It was actually 1900. It was only the second Olympic Games where they first allowed women to play.
Well, that's they should have.
Yes, they should have. I agree. Let's see here. Oh, I would know this one for sure. Let's see how well you know baseball. Whose nickname was Mr. October? I know this
Reggie
one's
Jackson.
Yeah.
Whose nickname was Mr. November?
Who?
Derek Jeter.
Derek Jeter. That's a good one. Let's see here.
The more you know.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to help my advertising test tomorrow, but you know. It could.
Whose ear did Mike Tyson bite off?
It wasn't mine, I can tell you that.
Evander Holyfield. That's a fun fact. Who invented basketball? He's got a lot of stuff named after
It was at the YMCA, right, or
I have
something?
no idea. He's got like an award named after him.
I don't know the basketball awards.
Naismith. James
Oh,
Naismith.
okay. Well, that's the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I think where was it? Do you know where it was founded or like originated?
That's a good question. I don't know.
I don't know.
If I go Ohio, that just makes sense to me.
Why? Because football is.
I don't know. I'm gonna look it up. Man.
Might as well find that out.
It was invented in Springfield, Massachusetts.
A little bit different than Ohio.
A little bit different than Ohio. Well, and I just had another good question. Where'd it go? Who is Kansas University's all-time scorer in basketball? Oh, wait, no, I've never even heard of this guy.
Mario Chalmers.
No, I would have guessed like Wilt Chamberlain. It was Lynette Woodard. I've never heard of him.
Never heard of him.
Why
Okay.
is that an easy question?
Yeah, how is that an easy question? All right, last one of the show before we move on to some more stuff on sports.
Yeah, let's see.
Because we got 12 minutes left. Probably want to end it on a high note. Not on notes.
Now we got to find a really good one then.
We gotta find a really good one. How many holes are played in golf?
Ooh, that's a good question.
18.
A lot of it. We already did all this. Who's the shortest player ever to play in the NBA? And who was?
He was 5'3", wasn't he?
Yes, he was 5'3".
I don't know the guy's name, but I saw the answer to it earlier.
Did you?
I did see the answer.
I have. Fun fact: I have this guy's jersey just because.
You really?
Mhm. It was one of my. He played for the Charlotte Hornets.
But as a 6'5" person, Zach, how...
I know the people on camera and radio can't see that I'm actually 6'5", but I love this guy because he's the shortest player ever, and that's what I wanted to be.
How tall is Nate Robinson?
5'6".
5'6".
I'm 5'7". I'm about Nate Robinson, but Nate Robinson could dunk,
Same skill level.
and I could barely touch the net, and he could dunk.
Never mind, I'll take it back. The same thing, the same skill level.
No, but this guy's 5'3". I decided to get his jersey because it's so cool that he was the shortest player ever, and he was 5'3", playing the NBA, and I'm like, that's only like a little shorter than me.
Oh, did he have like kid jerseys?
I don't even know. I'm sure my jersey that I have of him is bigger than his own jersey was.
Wow. Shoe size too.
Yeah, I definitely have a bigger shoe size.
Definitely bigger shoe size.
Although this guy was, I don't know, he's athletic.
Was it? Well, yeah. Made it to the NBA.
So do you want me to tell you what his name was?
Yes, please.
Muggsy Bogues.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. That was good stuff.
Yeah,
A lot of good stuff.
Right?
All right, we'll continue with the show. We have 10 minutes left. the
We
final
did.
countdown.
Yeah, no, we're good. We're doing well.
We are doing well. Okay.
Last Zach fact of the year. Last interesting factoid.
Should we hit it right now?
Yeah,
I think we should go right
ready
to
for
it. Go right to it.
All right. In all of sports, the athlete with the most amount of social interactions, I think that's probably like on social media, most amount of interactions with someone on social media, for the month of April 2018 was not anyone in the big four sports. He doesn't play basketball, football, hockey, baseball. This guy is actually an esports player. He goes by the name of Ninja. And you know what? I absolutely love Ninja. He's the greatest Fortnite player of all time.
I'm sure everyone listening is like, wow.
And he passed Ronaldo for most amount of social
That's
interactions.
impressive. That's impressive.
Most amount of social interactions in all of sports for the month of April 2018. This guy absolutely blew up this past month with Fortnite and everything. He's so well. He played games with Drake. He played games with Juju Smith-Schuster, Travis Scott. This guy was the king of social media. And Fortnite is an esport. It counts as an esport. He makes his living off of playing this game. So it's definitely a sport for him. And it's very impressive that he had 150 million social interactions this month.
That's a lot of interactions.
Yeah. It's 12 million more than Ronaldo.
12 million more than Ronaldo?
Yeah.
Wow. I'm thinking about creating a video game. It's you get dropped into a big map, and then a storm forms that actually a hectagon.
Oh, it's a hectagon, man. So
It's not a circle.
So it's different.
It's a little bit different.
Yeah. That'd be fun.
It's called
I would-
Fortnite.
I would play it for sure.
I'm sure you would. Class. What the class?
No, I just play Fortnite.
All right, and my final on this day in sport, 1995, the Cleveland Indians tie a record of scoring 8 runs before making an out. They beat the Minnesota
That's
Twins 10-0.
Unbelievable. And we were just talking about how they're the two best teams in the AL Central right now. That's what the playoff race is going to go down.
I wonder how many pitching changes were made. Or how many mound
in just the first inning before they were able to score it out.
Yeah.
That would be interesting to find out. That's really cool, though. 8 runs before they got out.
8 runs.
Wow.
What could they...
First 8 players to come up to bat scored. That's amazing.
Number 9.
Yeah, that's probably the pitcher. No, actually, there was an American League team. They would have had DHs. That's crazy.
Number 9 messed it all up.
He really did. He got out.
Cats have 9 lives. Nope, 8.
Actually, technically, he could have still gotten a hit, which would have made the 8th run score, and then the next guy could have gotten out.
Ah, true. We didn't think about that.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
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 A lot of good stuff. A lot of good stuff.
So, there's, sports. There's always a bunch of random news going on in sports.
Give me top 3 random news of the day.
All right, this is going to be a new segment, random news today. I'm just going to scroll, and I'm going to click on something fun and random. Let's see here. The Brewers. Oh, there was a reliever for the Brewers who hit a home run and ended up being the game-winning run versus the Indians. That's fun.
It's a great feeling.
Oh, relieving pitchers. They don't
hit ever. Unless it's a secret weapon,
Yeah.
which now they won't be able to use.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty awesome. His name is Brett Suter. He hadn't hit a home run since high school.
Any relation to Ryan Suter of the Nashville Predators?
Not to mention who he had a home run off of, Corey Kluber, AL Cy Young Award winner.
Wow.
That's a fun fact. See, like that. That's what we should be talking about on the show.
Whoa. Zach Sports Radio it is.
Let's see, what we got is a bunch of random... Oh, this is a fun one. One of my favorite players in all of baseball, Wilson Contreras. He's the catcher for the Chicago Cubs. He's going to be an MVP candidate this year. There were 2 rain delays recently, and during one of those rain delays, he decided to propose to his girlfriend.
Wow.
Good for him.
Good for him.
He's like, I guess one time I'm not working, as they work every day, they gotta play. Rain delay, might as well propose to your girlfriend. Just like, who was it, Correa, who proposed after the World Series?
I wonder if
Was
they
it?
would have lost.
If he did it before?
They would have lost. What do you propose? Is the question.
That's a great question. It's actually a really good question. I don't know, cause like
I wouldn't have. Actually,
yeah, no, I would have saved it for another time, definitely. And Verlander got married right after the World Series.
right,
also.
exactly.
Let's see here.
All right, we'll go one more, and then we'll wrap up the show.
Well, this isn't really much news. Oh, Draymond Green in an interview, he was asked about playing the Rockets in this next upcoming series, and he says it doesn't matter to us who we play. That is confidence.
That I respect that because in reality, it doesn't matter who you play. you're really playing yourself. If you can play the way you've played throughout the entire year, it doesn't
they
matter.
know
who
they
you
have the
play.
talent.
They have the talent. It's not diminishing Houston's success and who they have and what they can do. Just saying, look, we're not worried about Houston. We're worried about playing our basketball. No problem with that. I understand fully what he's saying. And
He thinks that when the Warriors are at their best, they're the best team in the NBA, and it doesn't
100%.
matter who they play.
that should be every team's mentality.
That's a great mindset.
Because if you think about it, every team, if they played their best, they could be a top team. I mean, because these guys are the best players in the world, you could argue.
Yeah, this is what he said. He said this is about the Rockets. He said they have made it known that their team is built to beat us. Like that's the whole point of what the
That's
Rockets
true.
have done.
That's their entire point.
He said kind of their obsession or whatever you want to call it is that's what it is. Like I've said before, all that stuff is cool. Obviously, you want to build your team to beat the defending champs because that's usually how you have to go win a championship. So it's understandable. But like it's time to play now. Like it doesn't matter. Like I know that's what they've done, but it's not going to be enough.
No, 100%. No, you're right. It's his mentality is the way it should be. Focus on yourself, and good things will happen, or they could be. You never know. Anything could happen. It's one of those series where you got two really good teams who are contenders for the finals championship. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. Zach and Matt is not here. The chair is open. But Zach, it's been a great semester. Really
been
great year in
amazing,
general. We had a
amazing.
great time.
Wow.
Once again, check out this video. Will be up in the next couple of days of our recap of the show. Will Bazarski, Zach Dolans. We'll see you next semester. Hopefully back in
Yeah.
August.
It's been a great
Bazar Sports Radio. You've been listening to KVRX HD2. Thanks for joining us for the last 3 hours. We'll see you
Amazing.
in 2018-2019 school year.